the road. This is the Dojo Podcast, episode 16.
Season 15, episode 16, right?
Yes, season 15, episode 16, right?
Yes.
Yeah, man. And by the time people hear this, well, before we even get there, let's do the plugs first.
Yes.
And do proper introduction of our guests.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, we're still coming to you.
Live from, not live, pre-recorded.
Coming to you, pre-recorded.
From West 22. From West 22, man.
At West 22, which is our
shout outs to West
our
22.
home for the season.
Yeah.
Check them out. They are a
all media house.
Yeah, all media production house.
Yes.
And our daily sponsors, uzuruonline.co.za, check them out.
Yes.
And there's going to be something there hopefully next week as well. Oh, by the way, talking about that, I think the dildos dropped.
The dildos have dropped. Yes.
We have dildos.
Yeah, the
dildos have dropped.
Yeah,
on Uzuru.
yeah, the dildos have dropped on
I didn't
Uzuru.
check if the doll is there.
No, I didn't see the door, but I saw all the toys that he bought.
Toys that we
Dominic
had.
bought.
So that was the Uzuru profile mention that we had.
Yes,
last
Dominic
week. So
from
check out
Honeyban.
his stuff. Use them. Come back with reviews.
Yes.
Yeah,
we'd love to hear.
We'd love to hear that.
Yeah, man.
Those are the only plugs. We
Yeah,
have.
and if you want to be like Dominic and Honeyban, you can sign up on Uzuri online. They have a little button in your Rauda, and then you can sign up to be a vendor if you want to as well.
I want to sell in peso there.
When you want to sell in biz, you can easily sign up, man.
Yeah, I'm going to sign up to sell in peso.
You can easily sign up. No more other plugs, right?
No more other plugs.
So our guests today to dissect
Since Mo is
this
absent,
drama, since Mo is absent and adulting today, we have friend of the show. We've had her a couple of times on the pod. You know, and she is kind of getting a listener favorite of ours.
Yes. I'm not sure of her favorite.
She is. She always gets reviews whenever she comes and visits us.
Pam out here putting numbers.
Nah. I think
I'm defending your honor.
I think Swazi
Pam.
a bit
We are
more
pitting women.
popular than Pam.
We are pitting women
Why
against
are you
each other.
putting-
a bit more popular than Pam.
We are
though.
pitting women against each other. I'm Team Pam.
Terrible.
Nah.
I'm also Team Pam.
No,
out here putting numbers on the board.
I'm Team Swazi actually. So we have Claudia. Claudia, thank you for joining us.
I love you.
Thank you for having me. Tabang hates me, but
I thought we invited you.
I hate Tabang too
Yeah.
sometimes.
Sheba, before we really get into it, don't you wanna plug something? Plug your thing.
Are we plugging now?
Yeah, plug it now.
Okay,
Top of the show.
so,
Because it's gonna be heated after this.
After this,
After
I'm not
this,
chance.
there's no chance.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wrote a book.
Yes.
And it's called Write About Us.
Yeah, boy.
And it is currently available on Amazon, and this is on digital as well as print on demand. And I am working on getting it on Burble. So hopefully by the time this drops, this is at least an option. I think it's a more viable option, especially for people who are listening and who want to buy the book in South Africa. And yeah, so the book is called Write About Us. Like, it's plugged on my profile and everything. The links that you need are there. And it's a romance novel. It's not a cut and dry romance novel. It has a lot of its own twists and turns. And originally it was written by a friend of mine. He passed away, and so I am finishing off his work. And yeah, this is why it's Write About Us by Mandla Ginger. That was the original author of the book. And yeah, so I'm self-publishing that. Y'all please go. I haven't
support
slept
that, and
for
support
3 months.
So do you consider, in terms of how you've structured or continued with the work, does that allow you to call yourself an author?
So I left myself out of the cover page and all of that.
You still
But in the pages, I am credited as a co-author. I am the publisher and I am the editor of the book. So I edited that myself.
Okay.
A lot of sleepless nights.
we can imagine, and congratulations about that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Another guest of ours,
Who's been putting numbers on the board too.
yeah, who put numbers on the board. It was actually her first.
first.
But the episode numbers were
Yes.
and
And the feedback.
the reviews were actually quite dope. So hence we
They
have
were
you back.
kinder to you.
hence we have you back. And Debbie is back in the house.
Thank you guys for having me.
Speaking to the mic.
Oh, thank you guys for having me.
Sharp.
I'm glad to be back. Yeah, I
Aye.
enjoyed myself last time.
I know Sawangena today. Mbali, how are you, sweetheart? Grand.
Kushanga Shona.
Yeah?
That tenderness.
That's what I wanted today, this morning. And you guys
Exactly.
were talking to me like out of your asses. I was so upset.
Why one? And when I speak with you in
Bruh,
kindness, and they
you know-
want to shit on it.
Hey.
You know?
Hi, Des.
You good?
I'm okay.
Usole sharp, no?
Yeah.
Ah, nee, I'm
Siki-
glad.
siki for delay, really.
I'm glad.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're healthy.
Thank
And-
you.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Taba, we're not grand.
I had a long week, bro.
In a long week.
I had a long week. I had to go to an embassy twice because like applying for the paperwork, and then there's some shit that sounds like it's a duplicate. But the thing about it is that it shows already because my daughter is going overseas to join her mother.
Okay.
And
Okay, let's the visa.
And molao. Ha o sa dumella hore mme a iketsetse ka bana e seng ba haya le mong. Love to see it.
Love it.
Oh, you're talking about the unabridged certificate. This is why women just leave them
Yeah,
out
yeah,
of the certificate
the-
altogether.
But there's
Very
but my
simple.
daughter is traveling alone and she's a minor, so there's a consent that both parents also need to
They
sign.
need to sign.
Even outside.
This
Even-
is
even-
why
even
you
outside
leave them
the-
out of the birth certificate, then there's no need.
Time alabana bao.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that
So you are busy with all of that.
yeah, and then like I'm also doing some academic marking, which is hella intensive. But otherwise I'm good.
Now I feel you, man. I feel you. So Sabangena, no. So by the time, like I was saying, by the time people listen to this,
South
I think
Africa would be under new management.
yeah, South Africa will be under new management. So all of our conversations now, I guess, will be speculative.
Yes.
And maybe by the time the people
Yeah,
listen
they'll
to
be
this,
very indicative though.
hopefully
Directionally,
hopefully,
yeah.
yeah. And but by the time people listen to this, maybe some of our theories will be right, some of our theories will be wrong. But we can only speak. But at the time that we are recording this, I think 98% of the votes have been counted.
Yes.
Right. So our conversation is going to be speculative on the results as they stand now.
I want to open by saying, guys, scenarios were set, positions were made, numbers were run.
Yeah.
When we are proud to press. Wangenu uzu.
Nah, relax. Relax. And then you jump in steps. You jump in steps. I wanna keep this conversation controlled because I want us to move from the time we voted to where we're at now, right? And then we can do speculative stuff about
Got you.
So I want to hear your experiences with regards to the voting, your experiences going to the stations, voting stations, the news that we are starting to get on the day of the voting, later on that night, and the subsequent days after that, right? So maybe let me go down this way. How was your experience of voting, the actual process?
It was cool. It wasn't hectic. I think I was there for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And that's about it. And then I voted. I knew exactly who I was going to vote for.
You already knew.
So I got, but I think the problem also that it took long was because I went fairly early in the morning. Their ID scanner thingy majigis were offline.
Wasn't working.
Right? So not by the time I got in, that's when they came back online. And then it kind of started moving. Faster. But other than that, it was a smooth process for me. They verified my ID, and because they had the printed out names,
on the voters
almost
bill.
it's as if they almost foresaw there might be an offline issue. That's why people were told to go to their registered voting station.
Yeah.
Because they had printed out people's names and they could verify that physically, manually instead of digitally. And that was a quick thing to do, and then I was out.
All right.
So yeah, it was easy.
And any differing experience? How was your experience?
Very smooth. The only difference with mine, where I voted, previous to the times I voted, the queues were longer. But I don't know if that was as a factor of having moved us around because they took us to a new school. But it's not the same school that I had voted at.
Yeah,
so I don't know if because it absorbs more people. Maybe that was but my speculation was that, like people were having that thing already. It feels like 94. So I was ascribing to the fact that it's a higher voter turnout, which actually, when the news came out later, actually that wasn't the case.
Yeah, because when we're looking at the stats, the higher voter turnout was 94. Subsequent to that, with 99, we were seeing 66% voter turnout.
This one was like 57%.
58.
58,
Yeah,
okay.
we're sitting at around 58. So it's not necessarily the turnout.
As you
Yeah.
expected.
So with me, I was voting at a new ward, where a new voting station, than the ones that I've previously voted from. So I wasn't really familiar. Lena, I took 2.5 hours. So it took longer than what I'm used to. What I'm used to is at most like an hour, 45 minutes. Yeah, but having to wait 2.5 hours to vote in LA, but I hear, actually, before we get into that, maybe let me ask you, how was your experience? Did you find it seamless?
So my experience was pretty much the same. I went to the same voter station that I've always gone to. I went at a different time, so it was a longer queue because I just went earlier. Like in my area, I know the earlier that you go, like the more full it will be. But I ended up just going because I wanted to get it over and done with.
And how long was that queue?
It was like an hour and a half.
Okay, not bad.
And then I actually ended up going back again because I was going with my little sister. And then that was like 45 minutes. So
no, it seems like it was
easy. I went there twice.
It was a seamless process. And when Ambali, how was yours?
I didn't stand in the queue for long.
I thought you were going to say I didn't vote.
No, I voted. Mutlatsi stood in queue for us.
Oh,
I wasn't
you guys are
feeling
voting in
well.
the same district?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was my first time voting in my constituency. And I didn't have a good time, a fun time.
Your
When
experience?
I got there, yes.
Yeah. Like what
So
are
the
some of the
queue was
problems
not
there?
the problem for me. When I got, I checked where I had registered because
Yes.
previous elections I had voted elsewhere. So I have since moved, and then I made sure to change
Your voting.
my voting station. Do I not get there, and then I'm told that they can't find my name, and there's no. My ID wasn't scanned. I wasn't even aware that there was a scanning situation happening in other constituents. Everything was manual at my voting station, where they had printed out
the voters roll.
the voters' roll. So they look for your name manually, and then they scratch
cross
it
it
out.
out, yeah.
And then they have like a note, like an exam pad on the side where they write
How many
one
numbers,
or one.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's how the situation was. So I get there, it's my turn. This lady tells me, no, she can't find my name. So I'm like, I equally need to tell her, look again. And then she says she can't find my name again. So I'm like, okay, give me the thing. Let me look for my name
Let me look for
myself.
my own name. But no,
So
you
she
can't
tells
look
me
at
she
the roll.
can't do that. She's not allowed to do that. And then they ask me if I'm sure I'm registered where I'm registered.
So you show them.
So then I show her, I'm like, except Rachongalewe, I'm voting here.
Yeah. Like you show them from the IEC.
Yeah.
Like I'm here. With my name.
Because now I'm holding, like now
You're holding
I'm
the
holding
line.
up the
Yeah,
line.
you're holding
And now
up the
it looks
line.
like I just came there unprepared.
Yes.
And I'm insisting on voting
Yes.
where I shouldn't be voting.
Because it was the first time within national elections where you couldn't just
Vote wherever you
anywhere.
want.
You had to vote. You had to
Where you
vote where you were registered, or you had to have a special thing. Section 24A, 824 or something.
24A, yeah.
24A or something like that. Yeah. So this time it was different. You couldn't just vote.
No.
Yeah.
So then she says to me, no, she'll add it manually.
Yeah.
That gonna be way. Like, what do you mean?
There's no manual
What do you
entering.
mean? It was like, "Faka manually, Kabbalah."
There's no manual
Hey,
entering.
and then I'm like, no, sis, call someone to help you because
Yeah, this is not
this
gonna-
is not gonna work. And then the someone she called,
Yeah.
who's overseeing,
Maybe presiding
yeah,
officer.
the presiding
yeah.
officer comes. The presiding officer finds my name
With
on the
ease,
same
with
damn
ease.
sheet that this lady said, "Ayiki kamalam kulo."
Maybe she can't read.
But now you see, abana ngoku, send upset, so send voting in
Yeah. And if you went with the suggestion of your name being added manually, your vote was going to be spoiled.
Was not going to count.
It wasn't
Oh,
going to count.
I would have been disheartened.
Yeah.
I would have been disheartened and I would have walked out because they said my name is not on there.
Yeah. Because it would have been a spoiled vote.
So I voted nonetheless.
Yeah, at least. Yeah, but then we started seeing, reports, actually maybe the IEC wasn't really prepared enough. And what are your thoughts about, some of the stuff we got in the news about, how unprepared they were, cutting allegations of cost cutting of the IEC? Because I remember at my station, even the ink stuff, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and then I asked the lady in Tor, how? No, kids are from the last election.
Because their budget was cut.
Yeah.
They were
But
limiting the resources.
There was an article that came out that said that the budget wasn't cut, and then they got an additional 300 million for funding to the original. I don't know what the original.
The narrative
so
is that
I'm not sure what the truth is around the budget.
Yeah.
I will say that I think that they were unprepared with the additional processes and the additional laws, and I think they didn't put as much into training. I think they trained people the same way that they had for like the last election, and they didn't take into consideration the new different things that they would be dealing with, and I don't think that they tested them out the way that they should have. I don't think that they tried to. Someone even brought this up, like a very simple thing, like checking the network that works in all the different voting districts.
Yes.
Because if you're going to have like the scanning thing, it obviously needs to connect to
like a Wi-Fi thing,
either a Wi-Fi thing
or a router or something.
Use data, and I don't think that they took into consideration that there's different types of networks that are strong in those particular places. So like I think it was a lot of small things that were not taken into account. But I will say I think that they handled it very well. I don't think that there's ever an election where things just go perfectly well. That's impossible.
Of course.
So I will say that at least like with the transparency around the issues and how they were dealing with them, I'll give them grace for that.
No.
I think that they did well there.
Same. It's just that, we really did feel, well, I really did feel, Hore, with this election, go ahead. Listen, they dropped the ball more than they used to.
I think this is
more
the
than they
worst
used to.
IEC has ever been.
Because in terms of voting, this is my worst experience.
Yeah, because firstly, what's happened is that remember, even for the political parties, they had to register 1 million votes or whatever before they could go on the ballot.
Yes.
There was an additional layer for them to cross. Right?
Yes.
Which to the electorate, we did not know what they were testing with that, or it was not properly explained. Because I think the real reason was that they didn't want anybody on the street just to say, I'm a party. Which is a good reason.
Yeah, because I get into it. This is the first time, this is also the first election where we've added independent candidates.
Yeah. So I think the communication and the packaging of the reason for why was not strong enough. That's the first one. The second one was with the whole thing of now including independence in the 3 ballots. Was also adding an extra confusion and ambiguity to people. Right?
Yeah, because a lot of people didn't really understand what the regional ballot actually meant.
Then the whole thing of you can no longer vote where you don't stay or where you are not, whatever.
Yes.
Even then.
It wasn't communicated effectively.
Even then, you are not explaining, because this is a national election. If I'm voting for South Africa, in South Africa, what is the reason for this particular change? What does it affect? So people didn't know. In fact, somebody was even saying, there were people that thought voting for a region means I'm voting for my municipality. And there are people who vote thinking DA is a better municipality runner, and therefore they gave them a vote for provincial thinking it's something else.
They gave them the regional, the regional because they thought it talks about my
municipality. That's not a by-election.
Yeah, and it's not.
And it's not.
Yeah. And then I think also the new CEO, Chief Electoral Officer, does not come across as strong as the previous ones to me.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
Sly.
Simon
Hey, is it Sly or what's his name?
I don't remember the
Yeah,
previous
yeah.
ones. I have nothing to
Yeah.
go on there.
Pekelia Pam was
Yeah.
very strong.
That's
Saluba unfair because baphume kangaphi ne-ads besithi checkani bana ni-register phi nivote aphi
Yeah.
balulekile loo nto like
Yeah.
kaninzi there
well,
were
they gave us
multiple
two
reminders.
opportunities for you to do that. Remember,
Yes.
there was those two registration periods.
Ufuna uxela kangaphi?
But also outside of those big dates, in between,
You could, whenever you
in
wanted
between,
to,
you
didn't
could have
have
done
to
that
wait
for those
Yeah, yeah,
days,
you didn't have
specific
to wait.
days, right?
Yeah, you didn't have to wait. Yeah.
But also,
But did we see enough ads on TV?
but also,
Did we,
but I
Even
also
on
feel
YouTube,
like
yes, you'd be watching a video and then there'd be an IEC advert there interfering between you and
and your
and
show,
and
no?
your show.
But I also think there was a heightened anxiety
In
Yeah.
terms of
in this election.
Yes, yes.
anxiety, in terms of
Emotions were high
Yeah.
Okay.
for a lot of people. I don't like, and you know, obviously we are seeing it with the political paradigm shift that we are looking at right now. There was a level of heightened
Yes, yes, yes.
anxiety amongst society because
That's true.
people were afraid of certain political parties. And I think also now the IEC themselves were feeling that pressure. You know what?
There's a lot
There's
riding
this
on this.
anxiety, there's this almost like invincible layer
94, that thing,
that's
this is
sitting
94.
here,
maybe.
right? And I think that kind of made them feel a bit unprepared.
Yes, yes.
But I don't think it's the worst thing that we've experienced. I think, like you guys were saying earlier on, the added extras and the lack of training for the new things is what caused the hiccups that we faced.
Yeah,
But
I
other
just
than
feel
that-
sorry for the ones that were really highlighted. Like I saw, at the Durban town hall, the lines they looked absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
I know kind of at certain universities as well.
Especially the universities.
Yeah,
that
like-
Hatfield,
Yeah,
at Hatfield, I
Hatfield.
saw that Banaba
Ba votile ka bo ma four ho
ba
say.
votile ka bo ma 4 5 years saying.
Yeah.
Look, I was coming from my sister had a braai after voting, and I left her place at about 11 in Centurion Kaka Cosmos Dal. As I was driving out past 11, the line go Cosmos Dal was still sneaky.
That's Centurion area, ne?
Yeah, Centurion area. The line was still there was like a fault. More about
Yo.
Tuneba line. It was we couldn't even drive past the traffic. That's how hectic it was.
Yeah.
So people in especially I saw in Pretoria, especially at Iko Hatfield, they voted Gabo Ma 3, 4.
Yeah,
heard that.
yeah.
Nuts.
Like in the morning, bro.
Yeah,
Like
I think
it's
I even-
nuts.
I even shared a video of what Greenstone looked like.
in the-
So a friend of mine was voting in Greenstone. She went an hour before me. So she was in her queue by like 9 a.m. I was there at like around 10. I went, I voted, she was still in the queue. I left, I went back with my little sister.
She's still in the queue.
She's still in the queue. I finished, I came back, still in the queue. I think she finished half an hour after I came back with my little sister. And she was in there for 6.5 hours. And that video that she sent me was like at 9 p.m. And that line was insane still. And it wasn't like a single line. It was a bunch of people. And it was already ridiculous. I think another thing that they didn't take into consideration is like the way that buildings are being built now in the last 5 years, especially like when it comes to Baldwin properties and whatever. Like no, it's caused a lot.
No. Speak on it.
It's caused a lot more people
Yes,
in
speak
the
on it.
same
Yeah,
type of area.
certain places are so
Are so
concentrated.
concentrated.
And so now they still have the
Concentration
same type of voting districts, which is one per whatever area. But like now you're catering to 6 times the population. And I think that was a big thing because she's in Greenstone. She's right there in the thick of it. And it's exactly that.
And it's a new development.
It's a
yona,
new
it's another
development.
babangata.
Yeah, so I think it's stuff like that that have been taken into consideration.
And I'm also of the mind, Jorge, maybe some aspects or some people or some sects of the population gave up
Definitely.
Like we're seeing 58. I think it
It's
could
not
have been
congruent
more.
with the energy that we were
Yeah.
seeing.
With the
Yes,
energy of
yes.
wanting
But
to
there
vote.
was
I think a lot of people wanted to vote.
Yeah, there was
it's
a
just
guy-
that
Yeah.
There's a guy
with
on
all of these
Twitter.
messes, yeah.
There's a guy in Funky was saying that he was standing for so long, he eventually gave up.
He went-
Otola,
Like,
You know-
yeah, because he went home to get food. He came back. He went home to get a blanket. He came back. He's like, he eventually gave up. And he didn't vote not because he didn't want to. Because he
Yeah.
was running, he was telling us, you must go vote. But,
Yeah.
you know,
when push came to shove,
Shove-
when he was supposed to
yeah,
do it,
unfortunately, and I understand it's getting colder now, guys.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
getting colder.
and
You
then,
know?
and then waiting 5+ hours.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
guys.
A person
And
can only
we are,
take
we are,
so
we are
much.
living in Cyril's economy. I can't be Uber eating every 2 seconds while I'm standing 6-7 hours.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And then Hosana gets barred.
Kausana ke span.
And
Now.
also just the safety. I don't feel comfortable
Yeah.
standing
Exactly.
in a
Yeah.
random street.
Exactly.
at
We see
12 a.m.
We are still in South
alone or
Africa.
whatever.
We're still in South Africa.
Hey, man.
we're still in South Africa.
My safety means a lot to me. So, like, I understand that there's a lot of different.
Man, you already stood so long. Like, just stand a little bit longer, man.
I mean, yeah, he did get dragged. Don't get it.
Oh, they
Yeah.
dragged him.
They dragged Funky for that. He
Yeah.
did get dragged, but
If he
it
could
is
wait
one of
4
those.
hours, like, what's another 2, bruh?
Hey, man,
But
Kati
his,
is the
but
man.
his feelings are valid.
But his feelings are valid.
Yeah.
His feelings are valid. I think we would have seen a much larger voter turnout
If there was inefficiency.
if there was a bit of efficiency, right? Yeah. But
Another thing, by the way, I understand, which might be an oversight on them, is that where you realize that there is less pressure in certain districts, it doesn't look like they've got an ability to move resources around because you have to attach a human being and the box to a particular district. So meaning, if I realize, okay, I mean down the road or 30 minutes away, that the queue is quicker, I can't release 2 people here, because in my reporting, if for audit purposes, I need to stay. Mali was at Pumason.
Yeah, it becomes a security.
Yeah, it
issue.
becomes a security and a
I think the thing is, I
Audit
think
issue.
Cyril's economy just renders a lot of things a lot more difficult than they should be. I think it would have been definitely easier to get more people available for it, even because it's better to have an excess, and it doesn't look like they had excess
Excess,
of
yeah.
anything.
I want to that's why I get this confusing story about the budget cuts or whether that's true or not. Like,
Amen.
Pella, if let's say if there was money, let's say there was money, then this is unacceptable.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
feel if
Yes.
there was money, it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
But if there wasn't, then I kind of can give you
I
a
can give you
pass.
more grace.
I can
give you more
I
grace.
just saw something that was to the opposite of
Yeah.
that story because I did read about the budget cut, but then I also read about
Okay, there
how
wasn't.
there was some funds that were allocated. I don't know now, so
Yeah,
I
so,
can't say,
yeah, it's a bit confusing.
It's a bit confusing.
It's a bit
I will
confusing.
say though, I feel like. And I don't know because maybe I don't consume traditional media anymore. Like not really. I don't sit and watch SABC One and then
I
like
still do.
watch Generations and stuff. I don't do that anymore. So I don't know how much that was fed into those soapies that people watch. Because that used to
Because
be part of-
they tend to do
They
there's some
definitely
education
use
through them,
that-
yeah.
through that, and I don't know if that was still happening or if it was effective. And I think generally we're just seeing. I don't know if I'm being right when I say like there's a decline of just literacy. Just
Yeah.
generally in the country.
like the lady that was helping Bani.
100%. Because the thing is, even beyond that, for first-time voters, it very clearly tells you on the form that you have to register where you're going to vote. It comes up multiple times on that thing because I was helping my siblings register, and so that came up multiple times where it's like, just remember. Double check your address. Like that happened like a million times, like while you were filling that in,
Yeah, but-
even before you could submit.
yeah, but that's it. Yeah, that's
And for first-time voters, they were the smallest amount. So I can understand why it was a bigger deal because you vote once and then you're registered. Like you just need to show up again, but you only need to change if you need to make a
guys.
change.
Remember for those that are closer to my age, where the corner shop was a source of information in the community. Right? Yes, I understand. Like we're moving digital, whatever. Like in fact, garage. Right? And I feel like, when you're calling it Cyril's economy or the capitalist, is that there are things and the dissemination of information that it circulates in the community, that we've now taken it out. Hey, digital, what. If you took posters like that,
But also in high schools back then, I don't know if they still do it now. They would the IEC would have a road show. And they will go to high schools, target Banabako grade 11 matric, 18-year-olds, and go into schools and educate them about the voting process. What they need
because
to do,
because
all of
the
those
IEC
things.
because you can register with the IEC from 16.
That's true.
Yes.
So, and it's about kind of getting at schools when they help the kids to do their IDs.
Yes.
IEC would be there.
Yes.
Also, it's an ID register.
Yeah, because on nature, I know Home Affairs. Home Affairs now goes into schools, but we say bana from grade 10, which is ideally 16-year-olds.
16, that's the ID.
Baba Tusa from grade 10, because these are the things you need. Obviously, how you go matric,
because
you
you're
have
about
to
to be an
write your.
adult.
Yeah.
Because also how ngola your final matric exams, you need that physical
You
ID
need
and
the
all
ID.
of
If you
that.
go and taxi ranks, like there's no road shows.
Yeah, there's
the
a
plate
there was-
activation.
There was a show called Kululeka. I don't know if you remember.
Yes, with Jomo
There's a
Fela.
show called Kululeka. Every time Honali election season, and I don't know if it shows my age. Honali a show called Kululeka. Le Jomo Fela, and I forgot all of them. And it was specifically targeted at voter education.
Yeah.
And we don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm
Or
saying?
it wasn't as prevalent this go around.
I will
Yeah.
say, you know what? I think we're downplaying the effects of COVID on a lot of these things, because I feel like the road shows and whatever that
Could
would
have happened
typically
during
take
that time.
place during a time when we weren't in lockdown. So those kids would have, gotten that education, and I don't think we knew how to deal with post-COVID. How do we get back into everyone back in the office?
Yeah,
and
into
and
the
I,
swing of
maybe it caused a reliance on digital media, which doesn't reach the majority
Yeah,
of
it
the
doesn't.
population.
Yeah.
Still to this day, I feel like obviously with how Amaspaza shops are set up now, I don't know if it is the right place to go and put the information in.
The person behind the counter is
because we don't know how that entire relationship is working right now. I don't know how involved the government is in that. And I think another thing, though, that I think I learned from this voters season is, like, as citizens, we really need to step up. Like, we need to be the people to fill in the gap.
Yeah,
like,
and-
it's actually
yeah,
our
yeah.
duty.
In fact-
so if someone doesn't know, it is your responsibility to teach them.
To be quite honest, I think, and it's been a narrative that's actually now coming with these elections, where we have outsourced the ownership of this country to politicians, right? A lot of us. And you are right, Auri. We shouldn't also expect IEC to come to us. We are not going to them either, right? We expect our problems to be solved by somebody else, as if we don't have a stake in this economy, in this country, and the affairs that run this country. Everybody's like, it's the government, So we also have an electorate problem in South Africa. Voters are a problem.
But we are seeing, and I want to now delve into this, because now, looking at how the results stand now, I think more than ever, South Africans have been emboldened and know, okay, actually we can affect some change.
I don't think so.
I think so. Looking at how things are currently standing, and I just want everyone's opinions with regards to how
The numbers are
with the numbers and their opinions, and what surprised you, what didn't surprise you. What are your conspiracy theories about certain
Zulu people stood on business. Zulu people stood on business.
Yeah. Actually, start.
No, really.
Yeah.
You're right. In the sense that we did not have the voter turnout that we wanted, right? But we still saw a huge change compared to previous years.
I disagree.
Somebody said on Twitter, Zulu people stood on business.
Word.
Okay, I
Because-
No, hold on. I'll give you a chance.
And the reason being, when you saw, and they were mainly speaking on the KZN results, right? It was ANC, but prior to 2009, it had always been an IFP stronghold. From 2009 up until 2019, it then became an ANC stronghold. But the way they move, I mean, we kind of knew in the way the provincial leadership of KZN was moving, the ANC provincial leadership was moving, that they were going to lose votes. And it was ideally going to be towards IFP and maybe a bit of DA. And EFF was sort of trying to make inroads in the KZN area.
Which is, yeah.
But then MK came and did something that no one expected, not only from a provincial standpoint, but also from a national standpoint. And when I was looking at the results yesterday, I think they were sitting at about 44.
For KZN.
And ANC was sitting at 18.
Yes.
You have wiped out almost 60-70% of ANC's voting constituency. And that is incredible. So you look at the fact that MK, within the few months that it really was able to campaign, its voting constituents stood on business.
Okay, let's discuss MK, right?
Yes.
Mbali, I want to hear your opinions. Were you surprised with the numbers that MK?
I was shocked.
Yeah.
That's what Claudia said. I was shocked.
and what are your theories as to why Zuma has done so well?
Do you know what it is? I had left my house with the intention of hotela UDM. Ne?
On tribal lines.
I left my house saying do hotela.
And then what happened? And then what happened?
And then when I got there, I don't even know what happened. So that's why I'm saying in the voting station.
This is so fun. So you changed your vote at the last minute.
I changed my vote when I got my ballot paper, like when I opened my ballot.
Yeah.
So nationally, and up and then I voted MK.
You voted MK nationally.
Nationally.
Yeah.
And then I voted EFF on the other two ballots.
The other two ballots.
But it was never my intention. I don't stand for anything that has to do with MK. And Dimani manifest up. And I was telling Tawang last week not to vote for these people.
So what changed?
I voted from a place of anger.
Yeah,
So send it on scene. So send
Your anger matched.
It matched and made you more sympathetic to Zuma. You were angry, it made you more sympathetic to him.
Man, intenzekileyo ndivotele MK nationally and then other two parties ndivotele EFF.
Yeah.
And then I leave, I tell Mutlazi that I'm leaving him. And then now I want to vomit a little because now I'm thinking about what I just did. So then I'm thinking, you know what, maybe some people that voted for MK, but it's not because Sihamba no Zuma.
Maybe certain things that happened then made you sympathetic to him?
Nothing made me sympathetic to him. I was just going there to not vote for the ANC. And that still stood. To say what I'm going there to do is to not cast a vote
for the
ANC. So it's not to say anything that is against the ANC is a place except DA.
Except DA.
Yeah. Votela nobangbani just as long as ungavotelanga ANC ni DA.
Because I wanna pick up from that because my assumptions were people who feel like in Bali, the logical choice leading up to the election would have been EFF. But we're seeing nationally that
EFF is not trending at the
and I'll speak to myself with us now dissecting Zuma's numbers that I did not see
this MK
doing as well as it did. First, I could not see it. I could not see. Listen, I thought he would do well in the KZN. I really thought he will.
Yeah.
But I did not foresee that even Mpumalanga and even strongly in Joburg as well. Yeah. He had a very strong. I did not see it.
I saw it coming.
I did not, and not at this scale. Not at this scale.
Okay, speak on it.
I saw MK taking over EFF. I was like, MK is gonna come in third.
Yeah.
I don't know what third is gonna look like.
Yeah.
But MK is coming.
But
in
but
third.
what prompted that thinking?
You guys know how influential Zuma is.
Yeah,
Like, do you
never pahala
understand?
I think I only understand it now, how influential he is.
Zuma got arrested and riots broke
Erupted,
out
bruh.
in the entire country.
Stood still.
Yeah.
And when I say that, I mean a friend of mine lost her business from those riots.
From
in
the
Alexandra, guys, in Alex.
Not in KZN.
KZN, in Alex, because they broke through the mall and she had a salon and they damaged so much, she decided to cut her losses. So,
Shit, them cheating
and this
twins.
is in Alex. I saw them. I could hear them from where I live. I could hear them. So
yeah.
for me, maybe it's because I was close enough
to see.
the
To see.
impact of Zuma. Like I needed to call work and be like, yeah, guys,
Wow, one
I'm not
year.
gonna work today because I'm at my parents' place. I was there for the weekend. It was sometime after my dad had passed. And I was supposed to start getting into work and I was like, I can't leave right now. I don't think it's safe because it's going crazy outside. The helicopters are flying around. And so maybe it's because of that I saw
You saw it coming.
it. I understand Zuma's power.
Yeah.
I
But
understand
Tabang,
it.
but look at the numbers, man.
Yeah.
This nigga he surpassed 1 million, 2 million.
Yeah,
sitting
nationally is
about
around 14 towards 15 nationally.
Yeah. So did and let's consider when he started the party, guys.
5
right?
months ago.
5 months ago. Did you foresee those sort of
I'm gonna
numbers?
I'm gonna go back to my intro. Assumptions had been made, models had been read, data centers engineered. Irrepressibly, I can't Zuma. Now I did expect him. I didn't vote for him, by the way. I voted EFF all the way.
Yeah, same.
I let EFF cook all over me. The only reason I didn't vote for him because I knew that regionally he's gonna be stronger, and I'm not in that region.
Yes.
So kamutima voti wabo. But I'm sympathetic to Zuma for other reasons.
Okay.
Right? I think one of those scenarios that I'm talking about is that I did not actually expect DA to hold like this.
Yeah,
Right.
because even DA's numbers, and I blame some of
Yeah.
DA's numbers to the
Yeah.
and the confusion between the region thing.
Ke tlo tla
Yeah.
mone. So I knew the people that I expected to lose, I knew that Msholozi will take from ANC for sure.
Yes.
I did think that Julius will be punished by the
Open
thing,
border,
maybe
border speak.
about a
And
percentage.
MK was
Yeah.
gonna
But here's the thing about the DA that
capitalize.
people are not understanding. The PA has been chowing their breakfast for a long time.
In the Western Cape
Yeah.
and in Northern Cape.
Then the black vote, I had now thought that its consideration would have been now DA, would have been Herman, would have been Bosa,
Yes.
would
And
have been
guys,
Razm Zanz.
yes.
So for that purpose, I had not expected DA to still hold like this.
Yes.
I had thought the clever blacks are
Will-
gonna
will-
go to
will
the
move.
emerging ones.
Yes.
And I think that is why Monopoly Capital funded them the way that they did, because what they thought was gonna happen is that they were like, "Bato badela ho lona, re tlo le fa tjhelete." Then
Yeah.
we'll reconvene ka the moonshot pair.
Yes.
Because the DA
Yes.
surprised me.
Yeah.
But can
I'm
I
surprised
just-
with the DA numbers as
But
well.
can I just say also, the DA numbers are not that great if you look from a growth perspective, right?
Okay.
So in 2019, it was 19,
They
yeah.
did 3.6 million.
When Musi was still president.
Yeah, they had actually lost about 1.5% to Freedom Fund Plus.
Okay.
They took their voter
Back.
Oh,
So
are
they
you
had
saying
19% then.
are you saying they've taken their voters back?
Yeah.
from FF
So
Plus?
so in 2019, back when people Musi was not really what DA wanted, he lost, right? They lost about 1.5% to Freedom Fund Plus.
Okay.
So they were sitting at about 19 point something to 20. When I know they've only won back 1%.
Yes.
Which, by the way, is Musi
Still-
still has more numbers than John
than
actually
John,
does.
yes.
Then-
In
but they
numbers.
still fired Musi for the numbers that he made.
Yeah,
Musi
which
was
is,
black.
but this is fine because
Musi
now
was
they're
black.
rejoicing
Lost the
these
core.
numbers.
Yeah,
but
they
John,
did the call.
He called the call vote.
They didn't
Yeah.
charge him on the overall number.
No,
Yes.
they were
Yeah.
they were charging him on the fact that they lost the white vote.
the white vote. So now Musi had more numbers than what John
Yes.
has currently. They've only won 1% back from Freedom Fund Plus.
Yes.
Not necessarily a growth. So there's not a growth ya hore more people are voting for the DA or anything. And then he also lied, John Steenhuisen, and said they've increased their black voter thing. No, they haven't. No. They are your clever blacks that you thought would be going to Rise Mzansi or Rise Africa, whatever their name is. They stayed within the DA. They didn't. Yeah. They stayed out there because they don't identify with the pro or pan-Africanism that EFF and MK really fight for, right? Mm-hmm. And they also are saying ANC is too corrupt. So they have this DA that they will vote for because, it's so competent.
Which is why I thought they were going to go to Herman.
Never.
Yeah, but we jumped.
DA child.
Herman's number.
Yeah. We jumped a little bit because I was not actually done with MK.
With MK.
Yeah, because we were still dissecting MK and we've moved to DA prematurely. So
I expected MK to have IFP numbers. I don't know.
Yes.
I expect since ugatsha sekashonile. I expected ukuthi abantu bakaGatsha bazovotela MK.
Or MK, or you anticipated that?
Yeah, yes, I thought MK, IFP was going to lose significantly because then
long-time leaders gone.
The long-time leaders gone, and now the next best thing to them would then be Uzuma, right?
For sure.
So I honestly was gobsmacked.
That's actually a good point.
But
I wanna dissect the especially with MK the chatter that's coming out, Tore, a lot of their growth was people were voting on tribal lines. What are your thoughts around the fact that some people are saying Mazulu, bavoted Mzulu just based because it's Mzulu? And how significant was that?
But also, guys, we need to be very careful with these things, right? If that was purely based on tribal lines, he would have gotten much higher than the 14%.
You think so?
He would have, if it was purely based on tribal lines. And also, he wouldn't have done as good in other provinces as he has done if it was purely based on tribal lines, right?
What are you basing
It's the charisma of Jacob Zuma. It's the charisma. It's the influence of Jacob Zuma, right? I expected ANC in KZN to lose to IFP, actually, significantly so. But then when obviously MK came in and he wiped out all of that. Okay. So, but also I'm getting to the fact that if you look at the PA, in colored areas, predominantly colored areas, you're in the Western Cape, in Lenasia, in El Dorado, they've done well. Why is it then not seen as...
Why is it a problem?
Why is it not seen as ethnic? Because the truth of the matter is, whether we want to or not, like Mbali was saying, she was going to vote for UDM, which you could say then is what you call this.
But she's admitting it.
Exactly.
She's
and then also, how Kasheba, the ANC they strongholds were in their home provinces in the Eastern Cape, and all of these things. So for me, I think the reason it's so highlighted Tabaya tribalism with MK is because of who Zuma is. More than anything.
So my thing is that I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's bad politics. I don't think it is.
I think there's a difference between
No. Because let me finish my thought. Because my thing is, we know a lot of people don't just vote based on ideology and manifestos. They go with brand, brand. And part of Zuma's brand is because he's this Zulu man
and
traditionalist. And I can see a lot of Zulu people looking at that and just based on that vote for him. And I don't think it's a bad thing for me. I don't think it's a bad thing.
It can be bad. I agree with you.
It can be, but I don't think essentially.
Now what I want to say is that this thing, a tribalist talk, whatever, we were not saying it when Zuma was doing it wearing ANC cap. So that's why it's disingenuous. It's disingenuous because Kwede is saying what's happening in KZN is tribalism. But when he did it wearing an ANC
hat,
so he's using it when it favors him or not.
Favors him.
But the truth of the matter, I agree with Desore. We vote along racial lines, along gender lines.
And everybody does it.
That's why the DA lost votes when Musi was the face of the DA.
Yes.
Because white people would rather vote for a different party than vote for their party with a black face.
But tribalism and voting along tribal lines are two different things. Tribalism is when somebody who presides over something disadvantages somebody else to advantage somebody of their tribe unfairly.
Yeah, but that's not what we're calling it now. With we're just saying, okay, kind of king. Zulus looked at Zuma, because Zulu.
I think there's a part of it.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah,
I will say this. It is multi-layered, right? A bunch of people did vote for Uzuma because he is Uzuma.
And it's
first
fine.
of all.
Okay,
I think
because
when
Zuma,
you're
not because of
taking-
Kim Zulu.
Yeah, I think when you're talking about IFP, also take into consideration that who's the leader? He passed away.
Yeah, Shenge passed away.
There is a need right now for black people. I know that because I felt that with me. You guys will tell me if that played into your voting, where I'm like, I want to vote for a party, but I also want to vote for stability. I want to make sure that who I'm voting for, I know that they can handle business. And so that a lot of the time tends to be an elder. The IFP does not have an elder
Anymore.
Right now, the closest thing to that politically is Uzuma.
Yep.
So he comes in at an absolute opportune time where there is a little bit of a gap in the IFP
There's a vacuum.
leadership right now.
Yeah.
And he can be seen as someone stable enough to do that. The reason why I'm saying it's tricky is because, and again, for me, this is another failure of the ANC, is because when ANC was doing this, they were glue. They stuck everyone together. Yes,
Yes.
you knew that the strongholds where the president came from was going to eat better.
Of
But
course.
it did not disadvantage everyone else.
Yeah.
But now with its breakaways and the infighting and whatever,
division
that
of the
glue
black-
is
Yeah.
breaking,
It's
and
breaking.
that is dangerous.
Yes.
I will say that is dangerous because the thing is, now we are having the conversation around
Tribes.
Yeah.
which is a very dangerous
It's rearing its ugly head
It's
again.
not a good thing.
Yeah.
I will say that it is absolutely not a good thing. I will say that in regards to
And I'd pin that as another failure to the ANC because
it
yeah,
absolutely is.
yeah.
I'm saying that the ANC for the longest time was the glue that held it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was a multicultural party.
It was.
Everyone was there.
Whether
Cyril came
Umsotho-
from- and it wasn't, yes, it was, those tensions were there underneath and whatever, but they were always
They were not
managed.
Yeah,
dominating.
they were
But
managed.
once that started becoming
Yeah.
the conversation that started being had, I again say everything good about the MK party is still a double-edged sword. Everything good about that party is bad.
I can agree with that.
Okay,
So-
cook that thought a little bit. I want to hear why you say that.
Why
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
good about
everything. Okay, give me one example and
I'd say
and,
this.
an example that's good and an
I'll
example that's
explain.
bad.
I'll
Yeah.
explain. Zuma's appeal also is the fact that he is a traditional man. I won't say necessarily Zulu because Uzuma does extend to other
Tribes.
Yes.
I'd say absolutely he resonates more with Nguni people, 100%.
Of course.
To be expected.
But the tribal, his love for traditional values is what cuts across
Yes.
The spectrum, yeah?
the spectrum. My issue with that is, let us not forget that this man is a rapist and a groomer, and these are the things that we know about him, and that you cannot take away from the fact that his policies are already reminiscent of that. When he was talking about his homophobia,
Yeah.
when he was talking about how he wants to send pregnant girls to Robben Island, when he was talking about suspending the Constitution, those are dangerous things.
I fuck
Yeah.
with that. I fuck with the suspending of
It's
the
not. You
constitution.
guys always fuck with it because you think that it's gonna benefit you. It's not.
No.
And that's my. Listen, I'm not.
I fuck with the suspension of the constitution.
Listen, we can disagree on that
Yeah.
all day, every day. All I am saying is everything good about that party, its disruption to the ANC, is also a highlight
Which is
of
what we
now
wanted.
us going back to voting along tribal lines, which is a problem.
Yes.
Everything good about it has a very dangerous double-edged sword and is a slippery slope. And I don't know if I am willing to say that is a good thing at any point in time.
Okay.
I am very happy that they took away the ANC vote.
Yes.
That's
Oh, you are happy to take the dirty job he did.
No. It's not even the dirty job. I also didn't vote for ANC.
Yeah.
That's not on him. He showed up, he said, this is what I'm offering, and people said, that's what I'm going for. The way we voted is on us. It's not on any political party.
Yeah.
The way we decided to vote is on us. I didn't vote for him. I don't feel anything. I voted for whoever I voted for. It was the EFF. I split my vote between the EFF and the UDM.
UDM?
I did.
So let me.
No, and I did UDM simply because, for the same reason that I would have gone in. They've been in there for so long. They understand the
There's
process.
an elder.
There's a stability
And there's an elder.
in
There's
there.
an elder.
And that's I give them regional. I didn't give them provincial or national. And that's why I did it. I know why I did what I did.
I wanna hear final thoughts on MK. Your final thoughts on MK as things stand.
I think another thing that we are not factoring in about the KZN and the ANC and the MK is the whole royal, how they handle the royal thing. So what happens is, remember, IFP leader is related to the royal family.
Yes,
and he felt mistreated.
Yes.
Yeah, he felt mistreated by Mrs. Zulu.
He was a traditional prime minister, right?
And then everybody knows that Cyril is closer to Mrs. Zulu.
Yes.
In fact, they even rescinded his coronation over him as a king. Remember, that's still a dispute now.
Yes.
Right? Then that whole thing when Begim Kimang, the Duma and Tol were having a go at,
and then they were tricking.
which is why I agree with you. We thought before the entrance of MK, that vote would have gone to IFP
It would
purely on the grounds of the Zulu traditional affairs.
Yes.
To punish the ANC, they would have gone with IFP. When Msholozi came in, because of his political brand stability and strength, he then actually ate away at food that IFP, which is interesting because IFP didn't lose either.
But
KZN
if I'm IFP, I'm disappointed because
You thought food was coming.
I thought food was coming. If I'm IFP, I'm disappointed. If I'm IFP, I'm disappointed.
Look, also, going back to what Tabang said, I knew the final nail in the coffin was going to come. Last week, the king had a meeting with Nduna Tsahai, right? In Ulundi. And he was mad at the ANC. And I remember even at that gathering you're talking about, I think a week later, there was another gathering in Nongoma, and Cyril was there. And they even made a comment to say, we wish you could teach your provincial leadership to respect the monarch the way you respect the monarch,
remember that.
right? So last week when King Mrs. Zulu had his meeting with the Induna, he was seething. And he said, who is the premier to go and fire my Imbongi wami?
Yes.
Right? Because he works in my office, not the premier's office.
Yeah.
Why is she doing that, right? And he just spoke around the disrespect of the ANC provincial leadership. Yeah. The way that, who's this? Boniso Duma has disrespected the monarch. Yes. The way he took away the mic from
we saw that incident.
the prime minister of the Zulu, the Zulu kingdom. The way Begim Tolo has been also disrespectful to the leadership. So you have seen that ANC has kind of disregarded itself, distanced itself from the monarch. And what
the Zulu community.
You need to understand, in the KZN area, the monarch is supreme to even the damn government.
Yes.
And that's the
100%.
truth. Yes. Right?
In terms
it's
of
supreme,
affinity.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's supreme to even, and that's why the king can have relationships with all the different political parties. Because to him, he doesn't care about governance.
Sharp, he's not supposed to be affiliated with
but that's why he can welcome the EFF, he can welcome the ANC, he can do all of these things. Because at the end of the day, he's almost seen as a supreme leader. So when you take that traditional institution and you disrespect it, and yet you want the vote of the people who respect that institution, you're never going to get it. So last week he even said, punish them at the polls. And that's exactly what happened. He said to them, what you're going to do is that you're going to punish them at the polls.
Bali, any last thoughts on MK before we move on to DA?
Your party of choice.
I've made peace with my vote.
Yeah.
I've accepted that
It's done the work.
It's done its work. I'm just relieved that the ANC can no longer make decisions by themselves.
I kind of echo Claudia's sentiments in terms of, okay, listen, I'm happy of the eating away. I'm also just happy, like, I want for as someone who watched what happened to Zuma after he stopped being president, the humiliation he had to go through, him going to jail. Like I sympathized a lot with him with what was happening
At a personal level.
At a personal level,
Yeah.
like he's an elder. Mara, the way I kind of feel like this is him just getting his
Getting his lick back.
he's getting his lick back, bro.
he's getting it.
And he's getting it well.
Oh, boy.
Listen, I didn't like how they treated him, and I'm thinking, I'm hoping this is a good ass lashing that the ANC is getting. Yeah, man. Like he literally got his lick back in a major way. Okay, but let's speak on the DA, man. Because you highlighted something. Okay, you were surprised by how that
How they were
number.
still
Yeah.
holding.
What do we think about the DA with the numbers now? What do we think about Steenhuisen's leadership of the DA? Do you think Bohel and Zille are going to start looking at him funny now?
Nope.
No.
Or are they going to galvanize even more with them? And give me your thoughts on the multi-charter party thing. What are your thoughts about how they're going to handle it now, looking at the results as they
The
are?
scenarios don't hold.
The scenarios.
The scenarios just remember the time parachute Jardine.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think what's happened, that's what happened there, guys. What happened is, you must also follow capital. Scenarios were put in place.
Yeah.
The ANC of Cyril Ramaphosa is the ANC that was also funded by capital. We know that for a fact.
Yes,
But
yes,
they were
100%.
also, it backfired on them.
100%.
You started hearing Kiman Herzog guy saying on national TV, Zuma is the most strongest leader. Started insulting Cyril Ramaphosa.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what happened here is that this guy is such a failure that even failed it Lemahua. Like this is how disastrous this shit is. Cyril
And they trusted him, and they trusted him.
That's how I knew who Cyril is whack.
Yeah.
I remember. I'm sorry.
They are no more repression. You cannot even say him by his name.
In 2000, I will remember. In 2019, I remember telling people like, this man is avenging 1999. Just by the way,
He was what?
he's avenging 1999.
Oh,
He's
Why?
getting his lick
He's
back.
trying to get
Getting his lick
He's
back.
getting his lick back
Yeah,
for
he was getting his lick
1999.
back.
Number one.
That's
Number two, I had all white people, business associate friends. Oh no, he's a businessman. He's great.
Not a businessman.
Yeah, but I want us to stick to the DA.
No, but what I was saying is that
And
then
take it back
they
there.
were crying. Now for me, the DA. I think Mbali touched
Because
on
we're gonna get to the ANC.
Yeah,
And
Mbali
so-
touched on it. They will never. When Musi was a face, they would rather just vote for that's why I'm saying that they had lost to the Freedom Front Plus in 2019. They only gained back the Freedom Front Plus vote back in 2020-24 simply because they no longer have Musi. They have John. John has been underperforming. Has not been a strong leader
Embarrassing
in
himself.
opposition. He's embarrassing. He does not even have the educational background.
Yeah, the intellectual capacity.
Yeah, that previous his predecessors have had.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show that white mediocrity is celebrated.
Yeah.
To be
Yes.
honest, John
I
is
was thinking about corporate. when-
John is the
That's
face
you,
of
he's not
white
going nowhere.
mediocrity.
Yeah, he is,
in
because-
politics.
My opinion on the DA, as far as leaders go,
Yeah.
he is not the strongest the DA has had.
has ever had.
I feel like
Zille is way-
Zille has bigger balls than he
No,
does.
she does.
Yeah, she has bigger balls than this dude.
But she runs the DA with an
Let me
iron
tell you,
fist.
Yeah.
Helen Zille is a formidable politician, even
Yes.
compared to white black people
Yes,
in the
yes.
NC. She's probably the top 2 most formidable political player.
Definitely.
That we must be honest about.
Yeah, and I agree with you
He's
there.
probably the strongest politician after Zuma.
Yeah, no, she's very strong. She is very, very strong, and I feel
Oh,
like
after Malema.
and I feel like I feel like they're keeping him there. Or when I don't know if it's
Because he can take instruction.
yeah.
He can
Like
sit there.
he's a good lapdog for
Yes.
Zilla.
You know what I will say? I
He's a
will
good lapdog
say,
for Zilla.
John is the perfect lapdog because he speaks with authority. That can only come with the mediocrity of a
Of a white man. Of a white
By the
man.
way, that was a diss.
Yeah, of a white man.
Honestly,
Yep,
it can
yep.
only come with the mediocrity of a white
Yep,
man.
yep.
I don't think he even understands what's happening. I don't think he can read the numbers. I
Yeah,
really
he-
don't.
he's-
That man looks like he barely bathes.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
barely.
That
Like
goes
he
slow.
can barely tie a tie. It
Stamanyanga.
annoys me. Sorry. But like when it comes to the DA, I will say all things and and I don't know, when we talk about the DA, we have to talk about the smaller parties.
Okay, yes,
right?
we have. Hence, I brought up the
Cool.
multi-charter. Yeah,
With
yeah.
the
Let's
DA,
talk about them.
I know that they're celebrating the fact that they have a stronghold, and I think that they're celebrating that simply because they thought that they were going to lose a lot more
And lose Western
with
Cape.
its pro-Israel stance.
Stance,
Yeah.
yes.
But wow, anti-blackness one
One.
day.
Yeah. Please, can we cook that a bit more? Can we cook that a bit more? Yeah.
We'll go deeper into
Yeah.
that. But I feel like all in all, we're not having an honest conversation about the DA because they did very badly. At the end of the day, this party had all the money behind it.
Oh no.
It had all the money behind it. They did the multi-party charter. They did Action SA, Bossa, all Rise Mzansi, all the referendum party, all these other mitigant strategies, and they all lost. All of them lost. And for one simple reason. These guys don't know which country they're in. And that for me is my biggest takeaway when it comes to the DA, because it just means that they will forever lose because they don't understand how this country runs. They thought black people were just going to go with Rise. I listened to Rise the first time. I was like, I'm never voting for this party. These people sound like employees.
Yeah. I could see it from far.
Well, I love that because that's exactly what they sound like. It's like it's
They don't sound like they
Wow.
run anything.
Wow.
Your whole premise of this party is the fact that you don't have a hierarchical structure. There's no top down. It's very communal. Everyone has a voice. But you all sound like you're working for someone.
Exactly.
Even how they did around
Why
that
Exactly.
Openema funding.
They dilly-dallied around two major things. Firstly, when we read their... Because they could have won. They could have done actually a lot better.
Better than they did.
They could have done PA numbers.
Yeah.
But the problem was the first time when people actually went back and read what they were about, especially online, because I think that they targeted their presence on
And urban
us,
voters.
the urban voters. When we went and we read the thing, we asked them where they stood on Palestine, and they gave us that very waffly,
Wishy-washy.
oh my gosh, we're on the side of
it's
humanity, and
humanity.
people like
And-
that.
and-
Then what made it worse was the fact that they changed the stance.
They changed the stance.
They did. They did. At some point, they came out as pro-Palestine, and everyone was like,
Well,
fuck
nah,
y'all.
we respect your colours, yeah.
At that point, they were like, now
The
you're
train has
telling
moved.
us,
Yeah,
now you're
yeah.
telling us that you will just switch
Yeah.
when
The
the
vote is
weather
under
is
threat.
favorable.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they could ever speak. They don't speak with authority.
Lay their views on BE for me.
Yeah, because
Yeah, because they were talking about what merits, and they're gonna what
Meritocracy
things they have to be
doesn't
on
work in South Africa.
on merit and whatnot. And then I was like, nah, fuck that.
I wish they had
Like, nah,
lost
fuck that.
a lot more. I can't help but be.
Everybody's
I can't help but be angry
At those who voted for
that they
The people who
still.
voted.
Black people who think like
Bruh.
that. Yeah.
Wow.
Can I just say, look, I don't care about, I really don't care about Rise Africa. They're the least.
Yeah.
I wanted people to punish Herman Mashaba.
Oh,
If
and
there's
they
someone
did.
who
And they did.
deserves
And
to
they
be
did.
punished,
And they did.
I was,
They did.
if Herman
did.
Mashaba has 2 haters, I'm number 1. If he has 0
He
haters,
got punished.
listen,
Yeah, he got punished.
you know, I mean, if you look at Rise Mzansi, Songezo is a former editor of, I think, Daily Maverick, political
Yeah.
editor of
No,
Daily
of Business Day.
Business Day.
Yeah.
Can't take him seriously.
He was a corporate spokesperson for a bank.
And he
I-
speaks like it.
Yeah.
It's like
Like an employee, bro.
You know,
Speaks
someone
like
says it's as if it's a running club who went to have
that
lunch
guy?
at Tasha's.
It's like
Do you know that guy, a week before elections, secured an interview on CNN? That should tell you everything you need to know.
No.
So,
They
you know-
had
Yep,
actually even
yep.
secured an interview on
ENC
E-News.
Yeah.
On
An ENCA, but then MK, they're not gonna interview MK.
Interviews. And then when people called them out, then they deleted the tweet.
You know,
I have the deleted tweet. in
my thing is, we were talking about the unity of the black vote.
Yeah.
Ne? And for as long as, and Capital is doing this because they have to mitigate their risks,
Their
right?
own risks. Yeah.
They have to mitigate their risks. So now you're going to have your pop-up political parties, which is just Rise Africa and all of them. And what they don't understand, like you're saying, because they don't understand the country that they're living in, they're fragmenting the black vote.
Right. They're selling us sellouts.
But now the worst part,
They're trying to sell us sellouts.
Here's the worst part, right? The honest truth is the urban vote the middle class doesn't vote, guys.
Yeah.
We don't vote.
It's a small pond.
But at the same time, if the middle class understood that they are kingmakers, they would actually go to the polls. But my thing is, you go and target your middle class who doesn't even vote. So they're going to read your manifesto and never go and vote for you anyway. It's either they're going to go to their white friends, the DA, or just stay away. Yeah. So Libana, they don't understand who their constituents or which country they're living in, because they would, for me, I like Musi. I just think he needs to find his niche. But I like Musi.
I like Musi.
I like Musi.
Yeah,
I would never vote for him. For me, I have
I'd never vote for him.
I have a
but I like it.
fundamental hatred, because otherwise I would have voted for good. I have a fundamental hatred for black people that want to change white spaces and think that they are special enough to do so. And I don't think I can ever get over that. Musi being from the DA for me will forever be a reason why I will never say yes. Herman coming from the DA for me, and his policies show it still to this day.
To have the nerve to think to have the nerve to have thought you could have changed that.
I am never.
To have the nerve.
And I think that's also why I had a huge problem Libo Pumzile once they left. Because my thing was Libo Mbali, Ntuli. I'm like, Bombali Ntuli. When they left, I'm like, never defended DA Kadibun. When we brought these things to the forefront,
because what Claudia has said, because I wanted to say the nerve of a black person that goes to white spaces and sells us the narrative that he's going to change when he's actually going for patronage. Right? Because you have to think about this carefully. Because first of all, it tells us that how it's it tells us you don't know how whiteness works for you to believe that you want to go change
white people.
And come back and try to sell us that bullshit.
He's disingenuous and he's not a genuine human being.
No, he's not.
I will tell you why.
I
will tell you why.
Let's hear.
The moment, even this Treginya at a respect and decorum, it's a loss for Musi. He's vying for office, he's vying to be a president.
But you're fighting with the DJ.
And fighting with DJ.
Let me tell you why. It's a haspobola jacket e blue, Yamahoa. Now Hona Buato Tital.
Yes.
He now left back at people.
Yes.
When Mahua had him on a leash, they told him this is how you speak.
It was a lapdog.
But also, if you look at it, the magazine called Scamto back in the day, he was a model.
Yes.
And he went by the name
Alosias.
But then also when DA was trying to be black and fit into the black narrative, they move the alias, put in the moves. For me, that's where I have a problem. Because for where now you are disingenuous in that sense, you never found your name okay until you had to go into the spaces so they can blackify their institution.
So what I'm connecting to what Claudia is saying, I'm connecting back to that already. People started having an affinity to Musa. Then we are saying, where was this Musi who claimed he's going to change a white space, but the space made him more white than he was black?
He didn't change a white space. He went there
and sold black people.
And
sold out.
He didn't even sell out. He changed. He reformed himself.
That's what I'm saying.
He acclimatized.
And how not to there's nothing.
But you see, but that's why I had a big problem with Libo Pumzile, because Libona, the way Bo Pumzile, Libo Mbali, Libo who's Lindiwe. I personally loved Lindiwe. I think she should have left the DA much sooner and gone to another party. But my thing is, every time we were bringing forth the racist undertones that the DA was saying in the media spaces.
They were gaslighting.
They were gaslighting us.
Gaslighting.
They were like, no.
They were gaslighting.
Then I'm supposed to come and support you when they kick your ass out because they are.
They did gaslight the fuck out of us.
My problem with that even more is the fact that that tells me that you don't even have a voice in the room that you are supposedly changing. And
Where
leading.
you're an executive.
Because if you're a black person in that space and then they do some racist shit, I expect you to at
say
least
some
be
shit.
able to say, guys, that's racist. And so this is
This
the
shit
part
won't fly
where
with
you
my
just
people, at
bring,
least.
Yeah, you can't even.
Yeah, you can't
speak
even
for
say
the
this shit won't-
people.
yeah.
But that type of thinking and the fact that it has prevailed for so long to the point where a multi-charter party thing exists tells me that they never understand us. They will
Yeah.
never. And so I don't think that they split the black vote also. I don't think they got barely any votes, that those would have gone to KISS, they would have gone to wherever. They were always going to go somewhere, right? Sure, because I feel like the black vote is very concentrated right now into where black people are saying, I have a problem with the ANC because ABC.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I feel that I would rather identify with EFF,
EFF.
Or MK.
with MK, or
UDM.
with,
UDM,
with
IFP.
DA, or with DA. Like,
No, UDM.
Oh, sorry, UDM. Oh, yeah.
UDM.
I'm saying even with DA,
Even
the
with
black
DA,
people that
it's-
voted,
yeah.
I can't take it away.
Yeah, they still are.
they have
A constituency of black
voice
people,
of a certain type of people.
That voice is
And-
misguided.
and
It
can
exists
be
nonetheless.
It
It
exists.
exists,
I'm
okay.
not even trying to judge. I judge them all the time, but like it exists, right? What I'm saying is, like the people are telling you exactly where they fall. That's been decided, right? Sure, there can be 50 other parts because they were, and they didn't get that vote because
There's
people
something that
had
you wanted
decided.
to say, Mbali, before Nto. Do you still have that thought in your head, or you don't? Because chance ya to speak on it.
No, I think on what the ladies were saying, mana, at DA, they want us to know what they're about, but they don't care to find out what their constituents are about. So, I will never not be shocked
Baffled.
or baffled, mana. How do you? DA.
Yeah, like for instance, maybe quickly, because we know why white people vote for the DA. I'm wondering if we
It
can
makes them feel better.
can we dissect why colored people and Indian people vote for the DA?
Because they're anti-black.
And is that it?
Anything-
Simply,
yes.
pure and
It's
fair.
very simple.
As long as it's not black, it's good.
Yes.
And the thing is, they're anti-black, and
White
they
people don't care
also
about you.
Then let me ask this: why do
why
they?
not Gayton? I'm
Yeah,
about to
yeah,
explain that.
yeah.
Gayton is still new, and
Yeah.
you're still a gangster to a lot of these people.
And
Please,
and you're a color that looks black.
yes, and no, not even, because he is on the lighter side. I would
Nah.
say.
No, he's dark
Or
as shit.
Is he on
Not
the
a
darker?
shit.
So there's still that colorism on top of that. Because you
But
don't
but
look
I do want to
like
ask
light-
why do we see certain colors do resonate with him, though?
No. He
'Cause-
does
yeah,
the
'cause,
work.
yeah, he does the work,
Here's the thing. What Gayton did impressively
No, I'm
in
happy
that
with his-
last
yeah.
election is that even though he did not get a national seat,
Yeah, he
in
got
the
municipality that he got,
he
yeah.
ran the shit out of
Yeah.
it.
And he's rewarded
Whether
now.
or not
Yeah.
you want to agree with
And he
the
was-
fact of how he did it,
And
or
he was on the
whatever,
ground.
He
Yeah.
was on the ground. He
was on the ground.
Here's the thing about, and I think that this is another thing that people don't understand. South African elections are won on the ground. They are not won online. They are won two places. They are
Yeah.
one on the ground, and they are one on mainstream media.
Yes.
Yes.
Right? MK was never going to get coverage like that.
In
But
any
they
event.
had all that fighting
Banana Valley
that
Holo
they
Tele
didn't
Holo.
have to.
Yeah.
Right? They knew that Zuma knew, and whether or not he picked the fight for this particular time,
Reason, yeah.
which
It
he's a
worked for
chess
him.
player.
He's a chess
so
player.
He's a chess player, yeah.
Possibly.
He
But
forced himself
him-
on the news agenda.
he forced himself onto the news agenda.
Pardon
Even
my
if they
ignorance.
weren't covering him, they were covering the fights about him,
Yeah.
right? That's what he did. But he was on the ground. If you listen to anyone
was
will
on the
tell
ground.
you MK was on the ground.
Yeah, and they
were doing groundwork. And
Ask
this
you a
is how
question
they
about-
won Mpumalanga too.
Ndise shocked bani imali engaka i-MK ithathe
To run the campaign?
in such a short space of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, who could have funded
Who
MK?
funded the
Who
MK?
does?
Because in the stats that
yeah.
were coming out, we didn't see who
Yeah, let me
funded
tell you.
MK.
Let me tell you. I
I'm
think
sorry, Zuma has friends,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
I think people need to
Guys.
understand
I-
businessmen in KZN.
Guptas will still give him money. The Indian community, the taxi owners.
Ready.
right? And here's another thing about Zuma.
Like,
that
there was also
here's
the thing
another
at
thing-
Gaba Brothers.
the
Yeah,
South Wales,
here's
yeah.
another thing that people, just what a machine Zuma is, ne? There are corporate people who love Zuma, but they know the capital punishment of coming out.
Like in total support of it.
Yeah. Even in the ANC.
Yeah.
Even in the ANC. But it's just that they can't do it. But for Mufanyu, they will give him resources. There are people who don't like Cyril as a leader.
So just to wrap it, the DA talk. So are we saying, Hore, winning over the colored vote for any black candidate would be quite
Near
difficult to do
impossible.
and near impossible?
Near impossible. I'd have to come up and be probably a religious, light-skinned, went to a Catholic school.
Yeah.
But with authority type thing.
I think I want to chat back to this thing when we let there's a tribalism. Hore.
Yeah.
What sponsor apartheid, what we fail to understand is that we are still on this autopilot that was rigged by apartheid.
Yeah.
Because the truth of the matter, we see ourselves along racial, tribal lines, even like
And color lines as well.
with patriarchy, there are still people who would vote for our politicians simply because they don't think a woman can run politics, right?
Yeah.
So those things are deeply entrenched.
Yeah.
Which then tells you that one of the most difficult things, which links to what you were saying with DA, they don't know where they are, is that in strict terms, South Africa is not a nation, right? We are nations according to our clans. These are kingdoms which were just clapped together to make us have like a uniform identity. So whenever all politicians, when they have a manifesto that says a rainbow, what, it's the right thing to say. But their behavior back at the ranch, they know when we want white votes. That they know they want white votes. We are still a racial society. We are still a segregated society. There is no such thing as a South African.
I feel like the DA is just the perfect party for the white person that wants to feel like they're not racist.
Yes.
And I think that's what...
They can't wear it on their chest.
They can't wear it with their chest.
That's why they were really sad when they lost their core voters.
Yeah. No, that's how I think
Because they were like, damn, we made job proper.
But also, I think, I was making I was thinking and sitting back, DA doesn't have friends, doesn't have allies.
Yeah.
No.
If you look at it, ANC, EFF, they are close in social, political, economic policies, right? BOSA, Africa Rising, and the other ones. Libona, they are almost, they mirror each other.
Yeah.
So even if they had gotten numbers and they became together, they were DA does not have any ally, and every time they come into a coalition or have to come together, they always mess up that relationship, and that's why their coalitions don't work. One, number two, like we were saying, Helen Zille rules DA with an iron fist. I was actually thinking that she reminds me of Margaret Thatcher.
Oh, Margaret Thatcher, yes.
Right?
Yes.
I was thinking that she reminds me of
She's
Margaret
formidable.
Thatcher. And because she rules with an iron fist, it is not easy for any of those people to come in and just change anything. So now she has a bully mentality. DA, every time they go into any kind of agreement, coalition, they have to come in with a bully mentality. That's why even that multi-party charter is not going to work.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to work because once DA comes into the picture,
Gaten has been saying that.
they are going to want to say, okay, because we have 21, 1%, 2%, we will run the show. And then it becomes a mess all over again. So my thing with DA, they don't have any allies. They have no friends. Even with the white parties, or even with the Afrikaans parties, they have no friends.
Are you in agreement with that?
I am in total agreement. I wanted to also say, I think with that, we're going to see how messy it's going to be. Because according to the multi-party charter, I'm assuming that DA is supposed to cede some power to the other political parties.
According to the way they structured it,
But now with them doing so poorly and only the
Scenarios
DA,
in holding.
only IFP, I think, is probably like the best performing in that charter.
Yeah, it's the IFP
It's
actually.
the IFP. So everything else is going to look
The
bad. And I
template
feel
is
like
outdated.
also, this is why probably the media is punting so much for a DA and ANC coalition, because it makes them look good. it doesn't make sense.
It makes no sense.
Policy-wise, anything-wise, there is nothing that
that's
these
not
parties
that's not a marriage that could happen.
Listen, I was just taking stock of now the last thingy with Cyril, and like Cyril didn't build shit.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing that we're walking away from his leadership, and I'm like, I can't do another 5 years of that because nothing's gonna happen. Everything's gonna get halted because they go into fight.
And I wanna get into that when we start speaking about the ANC.
Yeah.
But I wanted to jump to EFF and our thoughts on EFF's performance, their campaigning, and the numbers that we're seeing. I am totally shocked and a bit disappointed at EFF's showing. I thought this would have been the opportune time for them.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna cross the 15% mark.
Same. So the numbers that MK are doing, I thought easily.
EFF numbers.
Yeah. So I'm quite disappointed.
EFF wasn't garnering for the ordinary man in the streets vote. EFF didn't care to break down
Their policies.
so that even I understand what it is they're talking about. They were just garnering for Ababantu, Abateta the same way that they do, that are in understanding in that have political
language.
Wabo. So they didn't care for the ordinary.
To try to get that layman.
So
that layman.
And never nobody tini. So I don't even know if I'm with you. Oh, I'm not. The only thing that I'm hearing is through the grapevine where they're saying, you guys are saying the borders must open.
Yeah.
And to me, that is you saying that the foreigners must come in. You don't even care to come in, and you're saying you don't care about Limpopo.
and Gauteng.
Limpopo punished him.
And they punished him.
But you're so right. The problem with a lot of, and it's controversial, Pan-Africanist or pro-black politicians, they will use language, Karl Marxism or
Fanon.
to isolate. Listen,
Lushaba.
yeah, for someone like me, for instance, I study political science. I will understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, they like intellectual masturbation.
Yeah, they do.
But my thing is, you're not saying it for the layman. Now, for instance, their open border policy
Is a trade policy.
Now, yeah.
It's a trade policy.
So,
It's a trade policy.
you know, it was only when Ndlozi broke it down.
Broke it down. But he broke it down too late.
Yeah,
Even
but
then, he was describing trade.
but even then, there's even in him breaking it down, it wasn't in spaces or it wasn't enough for the layman to get it, and it was already too late. You're already looking at people saying, yeah, but we already have enough foreign nationals, illegal foreign nationals in South Africa who are doing 1, 2, 3 and all of these things. So they are eloquent, but only for the politically affiliated.
And astute.
And astute. So it doesn't make sense. So that was, and I agree with Mbali there. You cannot say, Mchana, when you look at the blah, blah, it doesn't make sense to
When I talk about what do you think Malema takes home from these results?
I think Malema, when I was looking at it by province, he got hit the most by his home province a lot.
Yes, he
He
did.
lost a lot in KZN.
Yes.
He lost a lot in KZN because of the MK factor.
Oh, yes.
Right? Without that factor, I think he would have done reasonably well, right, in KZN.
Sorry, but also when they lost Vusi Khoza, when they got
Yes,
rid
yes,
of Vusi
exactly.
Khoza, who was making huge inroads in KZN.
So there's some mistakes
for
they've
EFF.
made in KZN. When it comes to Malema, I think we've said this before in the pod. There's something that tells us that he either feels like he's not ready to govern, where he also almost like sounds like he self-sabotages.
Self-sabotages.
The other things I want to build on what you're saying, you are right. So Malema has fashioned himself as a Pan-Africanist, like the new Sankara, which is why I have noticed that he has not endorsed that guy Waku Bullet.
Faso.
Yeah. He
You know
hasn't.
that?
He hasn't.
Because
yeah.
that guy is now in charge of the
Burkina Faso.
as a president.
Yeah,
And
he's
then
no longer
he stole a bit
interim.
of thunder.
Yeah.
Because there was a time when EFF had branches Boma, Namibia.
Yes.
So I think he then saw this guy is
Using his
yeah,
model.
yeah. He's losing the thing that he thought he was going to be the new age Sankara, what. But the reason he gave for it was the right reason. He says, because this guy will kill Musoka. Then I was like, that's a contradiction because you once said you would kill for Zuma, so we know that you have no problem breaking the law.
Yes.
You see, we know. But now the thing is that this guy actually became the first, and he's young. right? He's young.
35.
And he's doing exactly everything you're talking about. He's nationalizing.
He's nationalizing
He's
and
doing everything.
everything.
So now to hold on to a bit of Pan-Africanism, he now misused the open border thing because he actually is talking about trade, right? And
Which isn't bad.
yeah, which isn't bad.
Yeah.
And we understand it, ne? And then there's a maturing that happening within the EFF, which can be a good thing, is that they are now realizing that the founder, just like a business, there's a time now when you can say to the founder, here you are wrong. You know, when you started this shit where everything was about you. Because remember, the reason why Ndlozi is doing well, he was the spokesperson.
Yeah. And
was
his
the
and his
spokesperson.
popularity is rising, and
I'm not seeing the spokesperson inside EFF having a high profile ever since Ndlozi.
Yeah.
You even forget that Vuyani is spokesperson.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, listen, like I saw him at the ROC. I'm like, oh,
So
Konje
and
Vuyani is.
what you are seeing
spokesperson.
now is it's actually, if you compare it to a startup, because the startup political party, you are starting to hear a lot of voices saying, we want to hear Floyd more.
Yes.
You are hearing that a lot.
Yes.
We want to hear Floyd
Yes,
more.
yes.
You know, we want to hear Floyd more, ne? Because you, as like the founder, you've built us to a point where we feel like you cannot take us.
Yeah, Kim Moses.
Yeah.
Kim Moses. He's not supposed to see.
Because I was even saying to somebody earlier on, I said, EFF, what they would do, they would say, take a break from leadership profile, go build structures, because that's what Malema is good at.
Yes.
Because you have to go fix your home, like they don't like you over there.
he needs to fix
then
the
start
home.
giving a higher profile to Floyd, but bring back Ngozi to like
Yes.
a very
Like
visible
deputy.
political role.
Yeah.
And then when we are ready to be a president, we rise you again to take over as a president.
Floyd is still marred by indaba zaseZVBS nje na.
No,
Nah,
but
that's
but
serious.
also
Yeah,
but also
not that serious.
Nah,
But
not
also,
that.
I'll tell you,
Not
I
that
disagree
serious.
with the Floyd one, and I'll tell you why. Even Go Youth League, Floyd is the brain. Floyd does not have the charisma of being a leader.
Yeah.
Floyd doesn't mind being in the background, you know, making the policies.
Perfect for
and
finance
everything.
minister.
Yeah,
Everyone should allow
yeah. He
finance
doesn't.
minister.
Floyd doesn't, and you can even see in the way he's behind Malema. He doesn't run after the fame because he understands. How Kashaba Floyd, even his personality is not the one that says, oh, he's quiet.
yeah.
He's happy with being the brain, the machinery, the support structure. We could see Ndlozi come up.
A lot more up.
Yes.
But Lena, I still feel there's a bit of, he still needs a bit of maturity.
Yeah,
there's
maturing,
still
yes.
Because-
a little
Yeah,
bit
he
that
needs to
Because
cook.
even with the,
that
I
needs
think
to
he's the
Rough
one.
around the edges.
Yeah, he needs to cook.
Because he's the one they've put up for premier for Gauteng, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
yes, yes.
And I question, is he really ready for
I don't
the
think
pressure
so.
that comes with being a premier?
not
Because
ready.
now there's a difference between being this person who's a political, you know, in your political
and
home
running.
and everything.
And
but now,
actually
yeah,
running
now
shit.
when you become a premier, you don't just cater for EFF needs.
Yeah.
You cater for the needs of the constituents.
Yeah.
Whether and on multi-party beliefs, on religious belief, on governance, and all these other things. And because they are pan-Africanists sometimes to the T that they cannot look beyond
that.
I wonder that, I then question, is he ready to be a premier? Because that seat is different from a political seat. That is now a civil servant.
Just to hop on a bit to what Tabang was cooking there in terms of the seemingly self-sabotaging that the EFF does to itself. Because
They did it multiple times.
yeah, because even
particular.
yeah, even with these allegations of maybe some votes Sabona having been stolen in the Western Cape,
It's not going to make that much of a
yeah,
difference.
it won't make that much of a difference. Plus, I also don't see them really making a big hoopla of it.
I see, obviously, them fighting for fairness, to say, in the Western Cape office, but I don't think they'll call into question the entire integrity
of it. No, I
overall
don't
vote.
foresee that.
And I like that.
Yeah, I don't foresee them
personally.
doing that.
EFF is in a very interesting part, right, where they are maturing as a party. Like,
Yes.
I think this is probably
Even
their most mature. Like,
even their leaders are
parties
maturing.
like VF and whatever can get a small amount. They're not going to trip like over it. Like, they understand that they are okay. They are set. So EFF is set, right? It's settled. they do have still a chance because they're young enough to refine their policies, where it doesn't look like they are now going complete opposite to what they first believed in. Because I think that's a bit jarring for people. We don't like that. We don't like change like that. But also when it comes to EFF, I don't know if they're playing like the ultimate long game. Because you say you actually raised a great point, Ntebo, when you were like, they speak in political jargon, and it's very clear that they are targeting university, like
political,
that's where they're pulling from.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's what like the long game that they are playing.
Because if we look at their support diversity,
It's hectic.
it's hectic.
Yeah, like that's the core.
Yeah, if you look at what happened at Wits, the results at Wits,
at UP as well.
they
Even
that's
UP.
where they are, and I don't know if that's just their thing.
They're playing the longer game.
Playing the very long game,
which is good.
Which is good.
It's good. It's strategic, but it can't be your only play.
Yeah.
Because there is I think what this election is good at, I hope it jolts people out of voter apathy.
Yeah.
Because this one was hey, look,
Anybody can get God.
Anybody can get
God.
And
Anybody
also-
can get God.
And also, your vote really
Counts.
counts. And like,
And you're seeing it now, okay?
if you don't like what it's looking like, I don't like what my top 3 is looking like right now.
Yeah.
I'll be very honest, right? I don't like where MK is sitting, and that makes me very uncomfortable.
But I also think with the EFF, people associate the EFF with only when I have problems. And that is a problem.
That is a
because
problem.
now there is nothing beyond.
We gotta get bulldog.
Yeah.
keep weapon
So
gassing
now
down.
people are saying,
keep
and
bulldog.
it's a running joke, hore, if mahua autibela or matela
EFF.
EFF, you understand? For me, if I was them, I would then really look at how I need to re-strategize that view of me as a political party, because people can't only see as a bulldog. Then what they will do, they'll happily keep you in the opposition seat, because people are saying, listen, EFF is okay in the opposition seat, and if you really want to win, then you need to change people's view of you.
No, I don't think there's a problem with EFF being seen as, because they've obviously positioned themselves as batho ba protestant interest. I think I agree with your statement now. When it comes to politics, guys, it's very non-linear. So there are people, vast majority of people, who don't see them as elders. And running a country is a grown-ass person business.
Yeah. Because I feel like to your statement, it's an indictment to us, right? Because if you solely see the EFF as a bulldog and you only run to them whenever you have issues, Marobatima vote. I think it's a bigger indictment to you. When you want defending, you are pro-black or you want pro-black support, but Jay, in your everyday, you want to stand in the middle.
My issue with that...
Can't have your cake and eat it too, bro.
I'm going to say, but here's the thing with voters, right? And this is the thing. EFF has positioned itself as a barking dog.
Yes.
You can't put a barking dog in office. You can't. I'm not going to put a barking dog in office. I say this as someone who voted for the EFF. So I'm allowed to say this, right? Because I need to know that you can be diplomatic. I need to know that you can sit down and not lead with emotions.
Yeah,
I need to know
yeah.
that you are not going to take me too far to the left or too far to the right.
I need predictability.
And if I don't, this is the stability that I'm talking about. I'm saying the reason why MK could come in and do exactly is because Zuma knew exactly what to do.
Yeah.
Zuma knew to go to the leaders first.
And
then got their buy-in first. Then he knew to go to the mines and speak to the people there who have been done dirty and say, hey, your last guy did me dirty. Let's fix that.
In fact, in as much as you also have a problem about it, but I don't think you'd have a problem about it from a strategic point of view. That's why his manifesto looks the way it is, as problematic as it is.
And his problematic manifesto also speaks
It mirrors to the constituents.
And this is what I'm saying, to the constituents that he's talking to. Which for me, this is the biggest problem.
Yeah.
Because I'm saying, what kind of a fucking country
Country are
am
we
I
gonna
living
look like?
in?
Yeah.
Again, I'm saying my top 3 right now is sitting as racists, rapists, and gangsters.
Yeah.
That's what my leadership is looking like. Do I want to be in a country where that is the norm?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And for me, that is terrifying.
Yeah.
It's the fact that there's always a buy-in for that type of problematic behavior that makes it worse.
Yeah.
But I will not rag on the strategy. The strategy works.
Works. Delivered it.
Of course the strategy is going to work. And I'm saying that same strategy is what, unfortunately, has EFF put itself, due to Julius's outbursts and
Yes.
whatever, in a corner as this is your identity.
So, but
we trust you to fight, but we don't trust you to lead.
Do you think Jorge, his African ideology doesn't sit well with the layman South African because them niggas are just xenophobic?
Yes.
No.
I think a part of
No.
it, you can't
Yeah.
say completely no.
Yeah, I would say-
that it's got its own, it's got...
Because
It's
for me personally, and this is speaking on my own personal politics, EFF's Pan-Africanism, I fuck with that heavy.
Yeah. I think the unfortunate thing, because I don't think we have a xenophobia. Okay, South
Yes, we
Africa.
do.
Yeah, no.
But we do.
M. You guys, these peasants what we have in South Africa, we have sporadic problems that rise up and will pick up the most opportune thing to quell it with.
And that is
Yeah.
bigotry,
And
and that is
Yes,
xenophobic.
yes.
And
But what I'm saying is that right now, you go to Deep Sloot, side by side, you go to Alex, they are foreigners, and it's been like this since the migrant labor times.
No.
Right?
Just because you're forced to live with them doesn't
Yes,
mean you fuck with them.
I'm coming to that. Ne? So I'm saying, or if it exists, it does not exist to the fearing levels that we think it does. What I think is happening
I
here
think
is
it does because then we should have the numbers should be different.
Yeah. What you are having, the problem that you have as a primary problem is you have unemployment, right? You have unemployment and crime. Then that unemployment, for you to then make a statement to people that blame the foreigners for taking their jobs, and then for you to come up with an open border policy, you want to piss them off.
Yeah, but is that not xenophobic?
Yes, but what I'm saying is that the truth, no. But I'm saying
It is
that-
xenophobic.
yeah, but now, what I'm trying to say is that how come outside politics we don't hear of Batu Babulana because
No,
Let me explain.
Okay,
Can
because
I-
the question is, had Julius not mentioned open border, do we think he would have done better?
100%.
So he didn't, and we are saying a large part of it is because of open border. So are we saying the people who didn't do it because of open border, are they xenophobic or not?
No. They're very xenophobic.
They are very xenophobic.
They are incredibly xenophobic.
Let me say this, and I think that this goes across the board, right? Julius's Pan-Africanist stance is the reason why he is not getting the votes that
At home.
at home, right? In Limpopo, it's also another because they deal with what they see with the
as the
incoming.
first.
Yeah, because
And
they're
I
at
feel
first,
like here's my thing. Again, my reason for not wanting to put in the other things as reasons or mitigating factors to make this a more grounded claim is because of certain things. If the law right now was working, that is on us. Do you get what I'm saying? It's an inability, and this is the South African problem, again, from the ANC, that there is no actual, like the hard work when it needs to be done and when we need to stand on business, we don't.
Yeah.
We are the people who are lax. And so these things
Take it,
grow
and
and
then
they
they
take
take advantage
and they grow legs, right? People are always going to try to get into South Africa's borders. That is a fact. To try and pretend that it's never going to
gonna
happen
happen.
is very unrealistic.
Yeah.
We need to do the work. The onus is on us to protect our South Africans, to protect our people's livelihoods.
And way of life.
That is our job. It's not anyone else's job. So the fact that we let it happen is on us. And the thing is, it does not happen purely from the outside. It happens with buy-in from South Africans.
Yes.
And this is my issue with whatever other issue that comes up and whatever, right? With unemployment, there is a gross misunderstanding of why South African unemployment is the way that it is. South African unemployment is the way that it is because we do not have a system in place to at all
Grow the economy.
absorb the amount of people that are in the workplace. That is
Because we are not growing the economy.
No, yes, because we're not growing the economy, but because
And because the whites are also hoarding it.
yes,
They're
it's
hoarding
also
it.
like systematically.
They're hoarding it.
Unemployment is a
They are not
hostage
reinvesting in it.
situation.
Yeah.
It
But-
is a hostage situation. So when you understand that it is coming from a structural, like
It is
because
structural.
of how the country was built, with the intended of black people never having jobs except for the menial jobs that we give them. That was always the plan with apartheid. That was always. So because we haven't dealt with that, that's why the unemployment is bad, right? But our mentalities around these issues is what is fucking us up. Because we are a nation of bigotries. And
Yeah.
this is what we are seeing with this election. Let's be very real.
Yeah, because-
right? Because people want bigotry.
Because
This
Swazi,
is why.
like the things you are talking, kids on to say these are high level thinking, critical thinking on unemployment. But when Akilikasi,
Yeah, that's
and
what-
I'm thinking these are the reasons why I don't have a job.
Yes.
And Malema is saying more of these motherfuckers should come in the border. And I'm saying I'm not gonna vote for this nigga that wants to open it up.
That's why in City Lindo, yeah, we act like we were voting on, like, I fucking asked you twice to check this.
If it just went off, then it went off now.
Okay.
So, as a voting, our voting was not like a scholastic exercise. Voting in Lizio.
Yes.
It's a very
We
emotional
were
vote, yeah.
emotional,
vote.
so it's fine. We could have read all the manifestos across all the parties, but bottom line is, at the end of the day, Julius pissed us off, even though we didn't understand what he meant. When we heard open borders,
We had
We
something
shut
else.
down.
we were like, yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, asisa vote.
My issue with that is that when y'all heard Zuma say, kill the gays, basically, y'all didn't say, whoa, this is a little too far.
Yeah.
And this is my
When did he say that?
No, he said that
Oh.
there is a problem with queer. Yes.
Yeah.
Hold on. I think I'm King. Should I pause? Okay. Let me pause.
Make
Let me
it.
pause. Okay, we back recording. Hare for the little intermission.
Really
But we back. Can't remember where last we were, so I'm just gonna.
We're still in the.
We're
You
finishing
last
up
AATA.
EFF.
No, we were talking EFF.
EFF.
So maybe let me take last words then on the EFF and their results. Let me start with you, Bali. Last words, your thoughts, disappointments.
I'm sad for them. I really am sad for them. And I hope they go back to the drawing board and find ways to include even those that are not learned, because who they are targeting is not turned on in relation to the demographic of South Africans Zamanyan.
And then for me, I'm totally, well, not totally disappointed, but I'm a bit disappointed with the turnout. I really thought we are going to see some considerable growth, because this is it's over 10 years now EFF has been
Yes.
in existence, right? And I feel like after over 10 years, after all that time, I feel like they should have done better, but with everything that we've highlighted, the kind of shortcomings, shortcomings in the messaging, I'm hoping they go back and, they introspect, man. Do they really want to govern? Do they really want to govern? And if they really, as Malema says, that they really do want to govern, what sort of steps they need to take to actually do that? Because now, on a personal front, I fuck heavy with that pro-African, agenda that they
And the
pushing.
rhetoric, ne?
Because every lining of society to endorse Africanism, man. and the black man in particular. You know what I'm saying? Everything. I don't want to feel foreign in my country.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, there's a lot of spaces in SA where I don't feel like I'm welcome, or I don't feel like
This is your country.
yeah, it's my country. Like Cape Town doesn't feel like it's us there.
So do you think...
I don't feel like it's me at work. I don't feel like my son gets a black education or an education that endorses or pushes or makes him feel more confident as a black man. I feel like my life is stifled by whiteness.
Yeah.
And I want to break away from it. And I like the policies that the EFF, and I really want that to be the South Africa that my son lives in.
Do you think the EFF is just content with being the disruptors and that they actually have no intention of
actually governing?
Yes, of governing.
Yeah,
Like
and
they don't know how their thinking hasn't gone further than just disrupting. Just as long as we cause irokas,
Yeah.
sizoba sharp.
And a sharp hanyane, I'm disappointed if that is their plan. I'm hoping it was good when you were still young. Young party trying to make a wave, you know what I'm saying? But you guys are not young anymore. Even the leadership is really getting to that age, you know what I'm saying? We'll still consider him young in relation to the other parties, but I expected to see a bit of maturity, a bit more of we are now ready to take the next step. And yeah, hey, I'm not happy with the EFF's results. Any last words on your side?
Yeah, I think, I don't know what the EFF's plan is. There was a lot of self-sabotaging that happened on the campaign trail this time, and it seems like it was on purpose. Sometimes it's not even on what was said, it was the tone delivery. You don't want to make your constituents feel like they're less. You don't want to make them feel like they're not being heard. For me, it was probably the Naledi Chirwa thing was like one of the biggest turn-offs.
That whole situation that happened
Yeah,
there.
that whole situation for me just kind of highlights that, like, I don't think there is, because I was hoping Patricia de Lille, but like I said, I have my issues with her. Also, I feel like Patricia de Lille just does enough to be in Parliament. I don't think she actually does.
She just wanted to keep her job.
I don't think that. Yeah, but that type of thing makes me. It gives me pause as to, as a black woman, what kind of a country do I want to live in? What kind of a country do I want to raise children in? And right now it's not looking great. But I am disappointed for the EFF. I expected it, but it's, there's expecting something, and then but when you see it play out, it's sad. It's not like a really nice thing to see. But I don't know if they are a party that wants more than what they have.
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't know, because the question is, are you really ready for an EFF? Like, what does EFF governing
Governance
every day look like?
Yeah.
Not them as disruptors, but as them as leaders.
As leaders and
do
governors.
they have that air about them? And I don't think they do.
They don't.
They don't. So, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, now I think EFF is finding themselves at a very dangerous juncture. The fact that we are now starting to question motives, right? When we think you are self-sabotaging, it gives us an impression now, because you have a glimpse of governance, you know how hard governance is, but you are happy to use it against the ANC so that as kingmakers, you get certain deals for yourselves. So it puts us at that now thinking, actually, by the look of things, you all don't want to govern. You want enough constituency, because you will see, like, there will be times where they don't even want to have a mayor, right? Even when they have a power to do so, because our thinking is that these guys, they actually know the task of governance, and they don't want that criticism falling on them being on the governing seat. So what they end up doing is that now, we now have a feeling or a suspicion that, no, you'll take our votes and start structuring deals for yourselves. And now the party is now not growing at the
the
rate that
rate,
we want
it should.
And that's where the problem, I think, is.
All right, man. I hear you. All right, let's get into the ANC.
The elephant in the room.
The elephant in the room, man. Let's
Or
get
the buffalo in the room.
the buffalo in the room.
Oh,
Yeah, we in Pala now. Yeah. Everybody, it's cold outside the ANC. The doors are open now.
Now it's cold inside.
There's a little
Now
bit
it's
of a
cold.
breeze.
There's a little bit of a breeze. Yeah, there's a little bit of a breeze right now.
Down.
Ed, man, let's dissect. Wow, let's dissect the numbers.
Wow. What a spectacular fall from grace.
Yeah, I did not expect this big fall.
Double digit.
Yeah, no, at most I thought they would land at 45.
Between
Maybe
45 and
47.
50.
Yeah, 45, 47, not too bad, but I thought just under 50 they'll fall. Those were my initial thinking coming into the elections. They'll most likely fall just below 50. Yeah, but I did not see it fall like this. Bali, how surprised are you at the fall from grace?
I'm actually a little bit heartbroken for them. As much as I said I was not going to vote for the ANC and I'm upset at the ANC and all this, that and the other, but now this is humiliating. Yeah. Right? The ANC galoku, we are where we are
Because of that.
because of the ANC, and it's not nice to watch
The party you must
what
love.
it has become.
Yeah.
So as much as yes, it's a lesson for those that are now in power, it doesn't take away from what the party stood for.
Yeah.
So yes, I don't want the ANC to win or whatever, but I like it's inayo inhliziyo ebuhlungu kaloku thina apho ndisuka khona itha road sayifakela ngithabo
Still Mandela's
abantwana
party,
ezikolo
bro.
yabona like izinto ezininzi zenzeka for abantu abamnyama because of i-ANC.
Yeah.
Next thing, the very same ANC ate itself,
Ouroboros.
So
Cannibalize
it's sad, and to see them go out like this is heartbreaking.
Yeah, man. Yeah, because when the thing, and we like to talk about it on the pod here, where sharp, where ANC is the all-inclusive party that black people should be like sharp glamle riwela da kaofela. You know what I'm saying? That should be home for most of us.
Ibe di coconuts tse re lwantshang.
Maybe the coconuts is a long time. Mara, if you
You know the coconut.
if you are about the black person and the black person getting ahead,
Yeah.
and with the history that they have, you know what I'm saying, like to see what ANC has become is really disappointing. But I am also so proud of South Africans, because this was like it's sort of like when you're a parent and you are disciplining your kid, it hurts you more.
Yeah.
Disciplining
So
your kid,
everybody-
but
yeah.
it's good for them.
Yeah.
It's like how sharp I want.
Yeah.
They might not see it in the moment, but this lesson that I'm teaching
comes
you
from
now,
love.
it comes from love, sharp. And I think we just gave the ANC the biggest wake-up call
Yeah.
they could ever imagine. I think I would be so disappointed if maybe their arrogance is too much for them to even see the lesson.
Yeah.
Because I would hope okay, back at the ranch, Lutulu house, niggas are sitting
You
tafeleng,
mean the ranch at Palapala?
okay, niggas are sitting there, okay, hi guys, nah man.
Yeah.
No. It's
Tshwenya-
bad.
tshwenya
It's- yeah, it's bad.
Arguing
now.
it.
Arguing it,
Yeah.
guys. I know it's bad now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we need to win South African, black South Africans in particular, confidence back. I'm hoping those are the lessons that they're taking from this,
Because
But-
it had become like an individual thing
Yeah,
now. It was
yeah.
no longer a party. Cyril, no man.
Yeah, no. And to speak bluntly about all the mishaps, I remember during before elections, like somebody posted I think
The
it was
wall of shame.
a wall of shame,
Yeah.
NC wall of shame, and you read some of the things there.
That we had even forgotten.
There's three
Like
everything.
Esitimeni.
Bro, you read some of the
That
things
Tembisa
there.
hospital tender fraud.
Bro,
Zweli Mkhize.
Zelim Mkhize.
The
This
lady was
kind
the
of
spokesperson.
vibes.
Babies.
The 10
guys.
babies. The lady was the spokesperson Santo. The husband was the King Yamapati.
Bro,
that lady who was a spokesperson before art. Utiko.
Yeah, arms deal. Like, but he can say
It's a
that.
lot.
Shabir
Shabir Shaikh, who
Shabir
was
Shaikh.
terminally ill.
Bro. dog. And then you look at that wall of shame and the obona hore, how much of a boost.
Peggy
They-
Kere was fired previously as a police whatever for
Police
tender
commissioner.
aid. Then he came back as a minister.
Yes.
And
Zweli Mkhize was on the road show.
dog, and you see that, and you see that wall of shame, and you see how much the ANC has been taking us for a puss, and I'm going to use also that parent to kid analogy again, because now it seemed like the ANC, the ANC was like a teenage kid coming into your house, a towel.
Yeah.
That's not that. I mean, has a fork, okay. You know, they disrespected the house.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like kids are fair. House that clean, I look clean. You know what I'm saying?
House that fair.
House
Also
that
flagrant
bad.
with their
Hey,
ways.
also flagrant with the disrespect, bro.
Yeah.
It's only flagrant with the disrespect, and as a parent, like I look at that and I'm
To
disappointed.
the point
bro.
where you now think this is your house, because this is our country's citizens.
This is our house.
Yeah, this is our house.
and
you have a privilege of presiding over.
Exactly, and you got those powers because of us. Yeah, man. ANC, man. Listen. I'm happy with what South Africans have done. Yeah, but ANC needs to go
particular
back.
Ngamza.
Yeah. But ANC needs to go back. Claudia, how do you feel about this?
I hope that the ANC can take this as a lesson. I had this pegged as something that would happen in 10 years. I thought that they were going to lose majority, but not
like this.
overwhelmingly.
Not like this.
I didn't think that they'd lose majority to a point where they need more than one big party in the top
To
to
coalesce with.
consolidate power. Yeah. So I had this pegged as in 10 years, and I didn't have it pegged as
that it was
something
gonna
that
be
would
phased
happen.
out.
It will be phased out.
I thought this one would be 45 at like the least, 45 to like 49%. And then I thought the next one we'd be
Below
looking
49,
at
below 45.
40, 30s.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I
Like a
thought
gradual
that's,
decline.
That's when, and I thought at that point maybe in another 15 years, that's when we'd see a party that would now come back and have a majority. South Africans love rallying behind one person. They don't really like.
Don't force us to think too much.
They don't like breaking away either. But the arrogance already that we've seen from them, which is, oh, you're going to rule this day.
Till
And
Jesus comes
the fact
back.
that you don't see the fact that any systematic challenges that black people face from phasing out the ANC is a failure of the ANC too, because you should have systematically put that in place to not
Anticipated
happen.
this, yeah.
That should have been your legacy. Your legacy
Yeah.
shouldn't be undone by the next person that comes into it. So like
Yeah.
that should be so entrenched in the culture of the country that it does not just lose power simply because you are not around. I think once on the pod, I don't know if it was a tweet, but it was you guys that tweeted that like if you guys go on leave and like your company misses you like badly.
It was me.
It was you, ne?
It was
It was.
Stella,
Is that really a sign that you're a good employee? Are you that
Indispensable.
indispensable, or are you just really bad at managing
and-
your
yeah,
tasks
and
for
treating other people,
the
yes.
time that you're not
Yeah,
away?
yeah.
And this is exactly where I'm at with the
Yeah.
ANC. To watch it has been spectacular. I feel a little sad as well.
Yeah.
The ANC, I think, overall still has the best
Yeah.
policy, the best
It's the most middle ground, I think.
mandate,
Yeah.
not even middle ground. I wouldn't say.
It's a
I'd
really-
say
it's a really right
DA
thing, yeah.
is more centrist than ANC. But
ANC was right leaning.
it, right?
Yeah, with those, we are with the Communist Party. The tripartite was turning moving to the left.
It was more
To the
left
left.
leaning. It was more left leaning. A little, I don't know. Anyway, it's very liberal. I'll say that. Well,
Yeah.
slightly, right?
Slightly liberal.
For the most part.
It's most liberal under Cyril.
Yeah,
It's
in
most liberal,
regards to
yeah.
economy, definitely.
So it's most liberal on this,
So I'm sad. I'm sad that we got here because this was never the plan. I didn't want to not vote for ANC. That's so wild, but I definitely did it. And I'm happy to watch it go down. And I'm happy to see my vote count in its fall.
I will drink to that.
Because
Yeah.
they really had it coming. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I
and I
think-
don't feel bad for
And
that.
you hear we're gonna go to you,
fine.
Tabang. Like you hear like the conversations, because I've been having conversations the time at like the old people are taking this bad, bro. Like what time?
And you can understand why.
Yeah, hey, they
I
take
understand
yeah.
why.
Yeah, they taking it.
I
yeah,
don't expect
it's
it to be a fun time.
Yeah.
It's a proper heartbreak, bro. It's a proper heartbreak.
And I think
for our parents.
where I was going to start is that, and I like how you guys, because I think when I came in here, obviously just through casual chat, whatever, Wohi, Sholos, whatever, I think the bigger picture about this is that this hits us as black people even more, right? Because we shouldn't have had to have a glorious movement like this put us in this position where we rejoice about it, right?
It's downfall.
Yes, like casually, but it's an indictment because the indictment says we elected a leadership having said mahua bapa la ka rona, ne ra kenya batho, and we are now in a position where we are saying lona batho bao ene re le romile have actually failed.
You failed us.
You failed us, and it hurts to say you guys have failed us. And then happy, it gets me to another conversation, right? Because I always feel like either the ANC has always been dishonest with us out the gate, or whatever, but when you look at why we haven't made structural changes, because these things, if you ask them certain questions, they are not dumb. You can't say, in 30 years, you have not developed black industrialists like the Afrikaners developed,
Yes.
You have not developed a company in a sector. Don't take away anything from the sector. Yeah, with nationalization. But what we are saying to you, there is no sector, right, where we can feel by putting you in charge, where you have to change the rules of the game to now favor your people. And having done so, you have delivered a product that looks like this. You haven't done that. That's a huge indictment. You haven't. In fact, what you've done is that you've taken malls and put them in our backyards, broken away the spaza that used to help us when you guys were in jail and we were fighting, and today we don't have a black retailer.
And over and above that, like the industries that you've been, not industries, but the state-owned entities you were entrusted with.
Yes.
You've taken them to shit.
Not only that,
Decay.
not only that, even if you did nothing to them, even your supply program, the biggest tenders are in the ESCOM, people the Evergreen contracts, that company, King, which was affiliated to Cyril.
Yeah.
Right? So we are saying, even without changing the rules, even with your programming of how you, as a buyer of products and services as a government, your own government did not even buy from your own people.
I mean, you look at the decay of PRASA, you look at the decay of SAA, you look at
SAA disappeared. It just came
it just-
back.
bruh, you look at yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you must take it.
Yeah.
Omofeo,
You can't
nada,
reach.
unelits.
I'm far. Yeah, the collapse of all the SOEs.
Yeah, man, it's heartbreaking, man, because like when we think about trains as the cheapest mode of transport, bro. Man,
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When I go back and I say, because I'm also not my stance on nationalization is actually not hard. I don't really believe in nationalization. That's what I'm saying. The state must be a referee, not a player. Ne? So I'm saying, after 30 years, there is no legacy. We've built nothing.
I think for me now, what upsets me even more is even when the looting was happening and they were taking, they still didn't build nothing.
Nothing.
Bruh.
All of that was wasted away on
Yeah.
vacations, Gucci bags, cars,
In front of our
houses.
eyes.
Basically, that's all we got out of it. Like, none of those people decided, hey, let me actually build an actual business beyond something that is a money laundering,
A club.
like something real, something to help,
An
something
institution.
to do something.
An institution.
Not even nothing. nothing. Not a foundation was built. Not a
because
nothing.
even if you like look back at their campaign, because their campaign was focused on we've been 30 years in and this is what we've done for you, you know, but it still talks to like body grand, you know what I'm saying? It still talks to like it didn't really talk about like the stuff that you were talking about, things that have a lasting legacy,
like
not patchwork. We're not talking about just the patch.
I was likening it like I always do like the daily bread. Like bread is like the most common activity that you can do. Like, and I'm saying, what's happening is that apartheid, we knew that there was bread and we were given crumbs. We understood that. We then fought. So what you did, which is what I'm saying, as the ANC, you either have to come clean with us and be honest with it. The person from which we were claiming that we are not getting bread, when he brought you in, he asked you to sell us an illusion so that now that you are this side of the factory and you know how the bread is made, look only after yourself, then let's give them 2 slices. What these 2 slices will do is that because there was a crumb, it will be enough to sustain them. And you didn't even go and try to say, no, but I want my people to learn how to make their bread too. You didn't do that. You didn't do that. You went in there, you had business with these people, there was PE,
they benefited
guys,
more.
We need to be honest about this shit. Cyril Ramaphosa is a billionaire without an institution. It's happened nowhere in the world where a person has become a billionaire without building something.
Yeah, without building shit.
It happened in other places. It's more common than you think.
Yeah, politically.
And politically, no. But he is a billionaire who just got billions because that does happen.
Yes. What I'm saying is that even those things, we need to question them.
Yeah.
We need to question.
Because what I'm saying, because the reason I go with that narrative is that the consequence of this is the following: that we always say, we feel disrespected, this is not our country. We have to understand that structurally, there's some level of respect that's not just going to come with the fact that you're a fellow human being. There's a respect that's going to come with the fact that you also have power in certain rooms. There's a respect that's going to come because Mbali, if she's white, I'm giving her a job. There's a certain respect that she has to give me because I have something she needs. Because now she doesn't recognize me as a human being. So even at things that we still have power over to give a black person respect, we failed.
Yeah, I think for me it's just and it happens still now in all sectors. There's just an inability to grow anything. Music is currently one of our biggest exports. They failed to even support artists right now
in a proper way.
There's Amapiano festivals that happen all over the
Outside our
world
country.
and not in South Africa, the originator of the
get the
South,
shit.
which is crazy. And it's not like our government doesn't know that it exists. It's just, even if you don't know that it exists, that's a further indictment on you. Because how do you not know your own portfolio? And so it's just one of those things where it's like everyone that is doing well in South Africa right now looks like they are doing well in spite of being in South Africa and not because of the current
support
structures that should exist. And it's crazy. So for me, I don't know. With the ANC, I feel like it's one of those things where things that weren't dealt with, those bad seeds grew legs and now they are farms. And I don't know if there's enough to redress. Yeah, they might be too far gone because I think it's definitely leaked down into further into the organization. I don't think that the people, a lot of them that are entering now are entering to become public servants. They're entering to eat.
For their turn.
You know, they're all coming in for their turn.
It's a scramble now.
So I don't even know if there is saving the
Yeah, because I was
go ahead,
because I wanted to ask, Kore, like, where do we think where to from here for the ANC?
I'm scared as things stand currently now, today, but I'm optimistic because I'm hoping that there'll be a lot of infighting with what's left of the ANC, that they will out each other for the terrible things they've done.
They need to let us hold something from an accountability.
Yes, so if everyone is held accountable and weeded out, then we can then begin to try and rebuild from what's left.
Try to fix.
So because now sesizodlala Hunger Games because so many people are going to be losing their positions. So those that
70 MPs are losing jobs.
you see, so
70
even
MPs.
even
those
like
are
the
just the
cabinet,
invisible ones.
even
There's
the
also others
cabinet
in
will
there.
turn on each other because
Yeah.
one minister will feel the need to out another minister for having done something else in an effort to secure their position. So I'm hoping that legit happens where the Hunger Games begin, and then mabaqedudlana. Then siyabuya ke siyathintitha and see what's left,
not gonna
and then
happen.
try and rebuild
to
from
fix.
that.
That's not how it
No,
works.
no, yeah,
though.
that's not how it works.
Yeah, because I find it like I'm thinking like going forward, because I think this election was a real turning point, and I don't know how long it will be for the ANC to bounce back from this.
Yeah.
I think where we at now is gonna be how politics are gonna be for the near foreseeable future.
Yes, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, already, for me, maybe I don't care what this is a watershed moment and there's a pivotal moment in the course of our politics.
And the
Yeah.
maturity of our
it's like
politics.
maybe we are being prepared for a future that does not have to feature ANC.
Yeah.
However, what it's done is that it's also making us ask a lot of questions about us as a black people in this country.
Yes.
Who got disenfranchised by colonialism,
Yes.
by apartheid, and we still ain't got shit even after putting our people.
Yes.
Right? And now we have to now question like what does active participation look like? Because I've said before, we've also starved ANC of us.
Yes.
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 Look, there's also an indictment
On us.
on us. We've let ourselves down too.
Yes.
Because harena the community, re balela makgoeng, ha motho a motho a etsa mistake one ka ntho, like we have not built ourselves.
we ran around-
we cannot put a head
gated
inside the
communities.
South African raffle and be assured that you can come out with something.
Yeah.
We've let ourselves down.
Yeah, we have.
I think what this election has done, I think, it's a moment of introspection for all of us. Also for where the country is going and whether you want it to go in that direction, which for me is probably the scariest part, is seeing the types of thinking that either led to what we are looking
at
at
now.
right now. So whether if that is Ogoti, you didn't read the manifestos and you were just going on, this is the guy, then that's a problem because that
Only
means
in
you
of
don't
itself.
read. If you just chose it just because you just chose it, then that's a problem because you're apathetic. If you just decided, oh no, I'm not doing this, and I've heard that party, because they're white, they work, that's a problem. But what I come away with this election is that there are many, 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 many problems with how we think as a country. And we really need to address that because it's not going to look good. Like, the ANC getting here is from us realizing that we let the bad things grow legs, and eventually it got
These
too
things-
much.
and they are running ahead of
so
us.
these things are growing legs,
And
whether
they are
it is the
we-
homophobia, whether it is the
yeah.
xenophobia,
Yeah.
whether it is the sexism, the violence,
Nepotism,
the GBV,
the GBVs.
like just how we
Yeah.
look at those issues. We're letting so many of them grow legs, and we're not addressing them.
And we're not arresting them.
And we're not doing the work to address them or to find out why they're happening, that it is going to have some long-term effects. And I don't think I want to be in that country.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whatever
but
country that
for me, that is also an indictment to the ANC because I feel like the ANC was a perfect home for all. But like I've been saying throughout this part, I'm pro Africanism, right? And what these thoughts that Boma Lema are bringing to the political landscape. But these things should have been cultivated within the ANC.
They shouldn't have been needed. They shouldn't
have
need
been
Malema.
for them to create another home
Yeah.
for those. There would have been checks and balances within the ANC that would have made these thoughts that Malema has, these ideologies to grow and influence the ANC. Even the whatever Zuma stands for, right?
Yeah.
That was also gonna
It should have been allowed to be cooked inside.
to cook
And then if
inside
it
and then
fails, it
refined
must
and
fail
then
inside.
and refined within the pot. But now we are finding ourselves where these ideologies and ideas are split. And when you choose Malema, you are choosing a hard stance, and when you choose Zuma, you're choosing hard stance. And a lot of South Africans aren't really wanting to choose hard stances, bro. Like for instance, choosing Zuma. Let's say I chose Zuma on a Zulu tribalist stance, right? But now what comes with it is the hard stances like LGBTQ, whatever. But if Zuma was allowed to cook the way he cooks within the ANC, I could have still picked him, but without the hard stances.
Where somebody was going to keep him in check.
Yes, Malema.
I disagree with that, and I
Same way.
hear you.
Same
but
way.
I disagree with that because the thing is, it finds a way to rear its ugly head at some point. And this is what I am saying. I don't know if, as South Africa, we have done the work to really look at our issues in how we think and address them.
But what I'm saying, Claudia, is that given 30 years of developing within one party, we wouldn't be at a stage where we are still picking out ideologies.
That was always going to happen. That's just how it is.
The maturing of politics.
That's just the maturing
But
of
I agree.
politics.
But where I agree with Des Claudia is to say, because Zuma has always, even before he ascended to becoming the ANC president, he did have those stances, 100% with him. However, Des is right, because he was within the ANC, it was drowned out by certain other things.
Yes, within it. It was cushion.
Which is why I'm saying, even the stance Zuma Ringe, I'm going to change the constitution, because when he was in the ANC, he didn't
change it.
But now what he did as MK, to show that it is not based on principle. He never wanted to change the constitution. He never wanted to nationalize. The things that when he stands alone as MK, he now forces me to
has
vote
to
for
say
him
it.
with nationalization, even though I don't have a nationalization stance. Because when he did it within the ANC, there was a contestation of other tribes. There was another tribe that was also Wabo. So he could not get us so far down the road. But right now what you've done is that you've let him take his own road.
Yes.
Now what's happened is that you also realize there are so many people that are following that road.
He's in the wilderness
Now they are forced to have a stance.
Yeah, they are forced to have a stance.
So if we could within the ANC, we would have said, you know what? And happy remember, we are here because Zuma felt personally humiliated. His MK has got nothing to do with fixing the country. It's got nothing to do with the vision that he had for the country, because if he did, he could have done it within the ANC.
Yes.
I feel like my issue with that now with South Africans is that they're not smart enough to think that. And so they're just going to go with it. And again, this is my question is, are we happy to be this population?
Hence the NC should have been that beacon of intellectualism that we needed, because
I agree.
Yeah, because that's why we're finding ourselves with the EFF speaking above people's heads. We're finding the Zuma speaking to the people, but leading them astray.
Terrible message.
And we should have joined ANC to put our issues on the agenda.
Exactly, because if all of these are stuck under one party, there is a refinement of these ideas and local mail. Okay, Sheba. Malema, we love the pro-African thing, but are you speaking about people's heads?
But do you remember when Malema was in the ANC? Bana bengevanescence, bengafuna nokhuzwa nangumntu omdala.
That was young Malema and later Mbeki.
Yeah.
And people were shit tired of Mbeki and his intellectualism and speaking about the people.
I think the thing is, that politics will always be dirty. And so this is why I'm saying the political landscape, I have a couple of problems with it, is the fact that what's very clear is that it's not leading. It is pandering to certain ideologies in order to be relevant, right? So in order for it's what most parties did this particular thing. With ANC, they were saying be grateful, right? Because we're your daddy. DA was saying beware of the blacks. MK was saying, yeah, I'm gonna go back to traditional values. So there's no leadership in regards to, and I feel like we haven't asked the question, what is actual leadership? Instead of just hearing a voice that sounds good and comes across with a good aura and with power and sure you understand it, like what does actual leadership look like?
Yeah.
And the fact is South Africa doesn't know because we haven't had it in a very, 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 very long time.
Because my thing is, as South Africans, we have a lot of things that separate us, right?
Excuse me.
Mara, as black people, we could agree on one thing at least.
We
At
don't
least.
agree
No,
on
but there was a time we could agree on one thing.
100%.
Yes.
There was a time when we could agree. We could
We
all agree.
hated
We
white
could.
people more than
But
we
but
loved one.
But we also loved Mandela and we agreed with the ANC.
Now-
And the vote in '94 and the vote in '99 showed us that we did.
Yes.
The vote in '94 and it showed us, okay, we don't care from what walks of life you were, but if you were black and you had any inkling of liking politics or being connected to current affairs, you fucked with the ANC.
Yeah.
You knew Mandela and you fucked with the ANC.
Yeah.
We could all agree on that.
That was
Despite our differences. And what I hate is that they had that opportune thing, right? That
And
we
they
could all
shit it
and they
away.
shat on it. Because I don't understand how the ANC was getting 2/3 majorities and then that declines. Or starts declining.
And you didn't do any
And then
structural changes,
and then you don't do anything to stop that.
If anything, they got worse.
Yeah,
got worse,
because
yeah.
because we could disagree. In fact, we could disagree. Maka, when after 5 years, when polling was supposed to be done, we would go there and do one job, and that's to vote for the ANC.
Forget ideologies, ne? As urban people, how much do you spend, which would have been your disposable income without you getting a bigger paying job, on private healthcare, on private education, on private security?
Yeah.
At a baseline, because of the ANC, we are now overspending to the tune of about 10K. Because you didn't make the main thing the main thing. Think about that.
Bro, and we're not unified, bro, as black people, because one of the reason we're already having these conversations about tribalism and Zuma getting the vote because he's only Zulu. Now we are going into this fragmented way of black people thinking.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that the depth of this thing is not simple. Is that, I always take politics back to how you build a home. If we have differences, the differences don't become what defines us. Because we can still wake up, we can eat, you still feel like you are dignified, there's a role that you play. The moment you take away prosperity, the things that you've been postponing the hard work on, when they now show up, when you say they've grown legs, they are too far for you to arrest them. Now, that's when you say, and now those things, you now no longer have the luxury of addressing them at the same time as hunger. Which is why now you will get a black person who will say, I would rather kill him because at least I'm already not respected as a black person. You're already not giving me a job. Actually, I'm going to choose to get a job and be disrespected. Because that's you failed to deal with the long-term issues. That's where we are now.
And then now we are no longer using your analogy. We are no longer sitting ibile as a family in the same dining table. Doing what they we are disfragmented and the white vote the white vote is soft. The white vote is
I
soft.
will say, I don't really care about the white vote. I don't give a crap what white people do. And I say this because I feel like we focus way too much on it, right? And it becomes another excuse. If we are doing what we are supposed to be
Things will
doing,
take care
then
of
nothing,
themselves.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There's 8%,
They are minority
7% of those
people.
of them make up our population. Right, and I know economically it's very different.
Yeah,
I'm aware
it's
of that,
invest.
but like there should not be a reason why we, as black people, give them this much airtime when we can
space in
do
our
other
heads.
things. I feel like as the majority of this country, it's fine that our vote is fragmented. I don't think that being unified means that we should all suffer with the same ideology. I don't think so. I think that whatever party has whatever fits your needs should be the one that you vote for. I don't think that a vote for a black party should now cause the fall of a country.
But I disagree. I disagree.
And that's fine.
I feel politically and what we've wanted to do with our country, right? We are not at a place where our vote can be fragmented because we haven't won back the economy.
Yeah.
We haven't. It's still a thing that we still need to do.
I feel like it's going to be fragmented because we haven't won back the economy. So people are going to try other things because this way clearly has done nothing.
Because we cannot take away from the fact that even that white population that you are not worried about, they are doing things to destabilize us. Oppenheimer, because Muso, they are flooding these political parties. This one
It's only Motsepe who's black who's participating.
Yeah, and they're flooding these parties and with money to further this fragment the black vote.
I hear you.
Because us not being united works best for them. It does.
No, I get us not being united works best for them. What I am saying is we as black people need to figure out what the hell unites us outside factors like we just don't like white people.
No, I was saying what united us, I said was the ANC.
Yeah. And with the ANC, we spoke about this with it not being, it was meant to be the clue. With it failing to do that, it has really failed a lot. Like there are massive ramifications for ANC's failure. And I hope they know that it's not material things. It's
particularly not
foundational things to this country. And I feel like this is what I have a problem with, because every single thing that I've heard them cry about on the timeline since they lost is, oh, you guys are just gonna lose this. You guys and they're talking about grants and whatever. Like, we understand that now we are having tribalist conversations. Now, someone actually said, I don't even know why you're worried about
something we thought Mandela has
Zuma's party because you're Zulu. Someone said that, and that is a crazy thing to
We've
say.
regressed.
We've regressed.
We're now talking about homophobia again on a part where now the fear is what would happen if Zuma had the power to change the constitution. Yes. That's worrying. We're now having conversations about how he is talking about militarizing a group of people who are angry, don't have employment prospects, and have a propensity to violence, especially against women
and that wouldn't have
children.
been the case.
We already know what it looks like. We see our cops. We see our
I wouldn't even take that manifesto
army.
seriously.
No, I know. No one should. But it did not change from him making such a massive impact.
Yeah, we wouldn't be here if the ANC was still what it was.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be here. Those were not
those
were not the conversations that 30 years in the ANC we are still discussing LGBT. We are still discussing military.
A person that was in the kitchen and was done cooking, who is supposed to be relaxing at home with his grandkids, is part of a discourse, is a regress.
We have regressed.
It's a regress because he should be telling us, I groom somebody who's playing. I'm now proud to see somebody playing.
I think it's something that we were discussing earlier on. There is no succession plan in the ANC, which is one of their biggest downfalls, right? How Kasheba, you've had your Oliver Tambos grooming your Sisulus, they groomed Nelson Mandela. Mandela was grooming Thabo Mbeki and Cyril. From there, but then I think from Thabo Mbeki's time, then you had Jacob Zuma.
But he messed up.
But even Nico Thabo Mbeki, he wasn't a favored choice.
Yeah.
He wasn't a favored choice.
Yes.
Polokwane was an upset.
Yes.
Right? So from that moment on, there was no succession plan because it became it became individualistic politics.
Yeah.
So ANC became about a person and not the party.
Yes.
So how Kashaba, because of that, now we no longer have the oneness or the unity that the ANC had. So that's why now we say, oh, hi Velek, that's why I got Debeni, he's made millionaires and there's this and there's that. They no longer had a succession plan. That's why when they recalled him, they put when they recalled him, you forget Khalema in the mix of Khalema. But what I'm saying though is that Loha Naja with Cyril, right? The truth of the matter is right now there are two options for Cyril.
Yeah.
It's either he steps down or he's recalled. One of the two.
Yeah.
But ANC doesn't have the success because Paul is not that guy.
Yeah, because Paul is not that guy. And I'll tell you now,
so we
Paul
having
ain't that
by
guy.
Monday, Tuesday we'll know what's our fate.
Yeah, we'll know.
But the sad thing is that now in the conversations of coalitions, if they do happen between the ANC, EFF, and MK, they do not have somebody who can take over from Cyril. Because Paul Liena Okenimole, he wasn't necessarily favored.
And he's not that guy.
He's not that guy. But then
never
who?
been that
but
guy.
then
But
the
there's
next
no
best
one
thing we
else.
can think about is Gweezy.
Yeah.
Gweez.
Right? But Gweezy
But
is almost
is
90.
Gweezy really that guy? Like, I'm saying at this
He's
point,
not.
and this is
He's
why I'm
not.
saying we need to have a conversation about what leadership looks
He's
like.
not, but he's the next
He's
best
the next
thing.
best
He's the
He's
next
he's-
best thing.
Because
He's
you have Paul, you have Nomvola, who's TG Konje, there's that other lady who I forget her name. There's Paul,
Mohammed
there's Ramokhopa.
Yeah.
No, but there's another lady.
Okay.
I forgot her name. But on the top 6, none of them are worthy. No, I even said the person who should be given the mandate to lead the coalition conversation
Should
is
be
Gwede.
Gwede.
No one else in the top 6
gives us confidence.
gives us
Gives us
confidence.
confidence.
And also, he did not alienate Ngamalala. And I think it's because he has the foresight of politics. He's a union man. He understands that politics is a game that will constantly come
But
around.
this is now the meeting point of both your points, because Des was saying, if ANC had done all those things right,
Yeah.
there would have been no need for this. And I agree with Claudia when he says, but we also don't always have to think that the future is on the ANC. We must allow new ideology of black parties.
Yes.
The problem, they already come on the backdrop of a disfranchised black person.
This is my problem is that the current leadership that we had put in place for the past 30 years did not put structures in place
Yeah.
anywhere. Anywhere, so that we can move forward even without them, and that should have been their legacy. Their legacy should be that yes, you will be missed, but you will never be forgotten.
Yeah. I want to go back to this point that I was making. You see, when I was coming back to think about the respect of black person even without prosperity. Guys, think about it in your heads. Have you ever heard, during Thabo Mbeki's presidency, a white private businessman saying Thabo Mbeki is a fool?
No.
No.
Have you ever heard
No.
the minister is stupid? The SG, office of the SG of the ruling party, gets told by a white private person that this guy is stupid.
That's another problem I have now. So the center of power in the top
Yeah,
6
it's
in the
no longer.
ANC
It
is the
doesn't
office
sit
of,
with the-
is the,
with the
office of the
SG.
SG.
It doesn't sit there anymore.
And that's why for me, Gwede is such a consequential, is such an important part of politics, ANC at right now. Fikile Mbalula, when he was ranting and raving beginning of the year, when he was on a campaign trail, he had said a few things. The following week, Gwede had to step
I'm
in,
reprimand.
him in public, Westpart, in the media, and try and save face. That is a man who understands what the office of the SG
He's an
is.
elder.
Stands for.
This is a man who understands, Hore, you cannot be running around and allowing lawsuits of 140 million rand to continue to a point where you're almost liquidated as a party.
As a party.
Do you
And like there was a
understand
time
that?
they couldn't pay salaries.
It's
and
embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
Do you understand? So, Gwede understood as the SG what his role is. Now the center of power is no longer in the office of
He
the
influences.
SG. It's now Gwede. That's why look at ROC. Gwede is not supposed to be there. Gwede ke chairperson. SG is supposed to be there. He's
Running the
supposed
show.
SG is
Like
supposed to be there running the
influencer,
show.
Yep.
You're
Yes,
supposed to have
babes.
a comms. You're supposed to have
Yes,
a comms
babes.
team.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Please,
no.
really,
I've
yes,
seen. I see the DSG, which is Nomvola, right? I saw the DSG, but I don't see the office because it's no longer powerful, and that's why I get a Guizi at the moment. Got top 6.
Yeah.
He's the
He
only one.
is
the
the
only
person who
one.
leads, and he understands diplomatic negotiations.
Yeah.
Then Cyril was heckled. Go the last conference.
Yeah.
When they walked in, but Zuma's faction said, "Where's Zenu Zuma?" Cyril was about to stop it. Gwede said, "Let them sing their song. Let them continue."
so I
He
wanna-
understood what was going
Yeah,
on.
so I want to ask then, what are we thinking in terms of what they're gonna do now after they announce? Like, what are our predictions? Who is the NC going to coalesce with? And what sort of concessions do you think are going to be be
I
made?
think it's interesting. I think Cyril would love to coalesce with the DA.
But what would
because
that mean for the NC if they do?
The ANC is dead.
Either way.
Right now, as it stands.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they can't come back, but right now, as it stands. Because Cyril's thing has always been foreign investors, economy, what. They are all punting for a DA ANC coalition, which means 5 years of nothing.
So do you
Because
see that happening?
Policy-wise, I hope not.
I see it
I
happening.
see it happening,
see
but
it
I
happening.
hope not. I think
What would you like to see? Who do you want the NC to
there's
start
nothing.
talking to?
There's nothing that I want to see. It's gonna be a bloodbath.
No, but I think DA.
What's your? I'm gonna get to you. What's your best case scenario?
my best case scenario is
Speaking
Cyril
to your
steps down.
Yeah, speaking to your own politics. Yeah.
Cyril steps down. Then ANC coalesces with EFF and
A couple of other smaller parties.
a couple of other smaller parties. It would be a bunch of other, like enough to still hold majority.
Yes.
Possibly PA, because PA and ANC have a good relationship in
Yes.
some other
Yeah.
Yeah, they
districts.
do,
So ANC,
EFF,
EFF,
PA, and the smaller
then
ones.
a couple
they would get a
smaller ones.
majority.
They need
Yeah,
that.
actually, they would.
They need that.
That's your best case scenario.
My best case, because I know DA won't work with MK.
Yeah.
There's no world where DA and MK are working
Yeah,
together. And so that kind of brings down DA's center of power, especially because they have to share it with the 10
Yes.
parties. But even with those 10, they still
It
get
is
like
not
another
enough
5.
numbers.
Not
Yeah.
even 5, like a good,
Yeah.
let's say
Yeah, it's
5.
not
Let's
enough.
be nice. 5%, because I don't think DA's policies like
merge.
match anywhere near. But I think also ANC and MK not coming in together
would be good.
is good because listen, we're already suffering. We can talk about the economy as far away as we like, but right now people are suffering. What would happen is if EFF and MK and ANC got together, the rand is tumbling. Everything is going to be insane. And the people who are going to suffer are the people. And I don't think there's a contingency in place for
What's
that.
your
right
What's
now.
your best case scenario?
Okay, I'll come to the best case, but I'm going to say what I think is going to happen. My prediction. The invisible hand and party that's contesting the elections is Capital.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
They've spent the most on the two parties that make the most sense that they've been comfortable with, which is
Yes.
NC and the
DA.
DA.
Yes.
How they spend it, they own mean that they will sell it to you.
Yes.
Right? That's what's going to win. What's going to win is DA and NC are going to go together.
They're going to get into bed.
Yes.
Okay.
Because here's another reason why it makes financial sense. Because if ANC already see that they're dying anyway, the only thing they want to cash out. They are going to cash out.
Do you think they would do that?
That's
risk?
what, yeah.
Do you think they will risk their brand?
They are cashing out. Everybody sees. Because the thing is, bruh, the truth of the matter is that if these things were even counted properly, bruh, MKA should have done even more damage. So what's going to happen here, to salvage the situation, In fact, that situation, just from an economics point of view, makes sense, even for us. The DA and the ANC coalition makes sense economically, right? In terms of not having a bloodbath, the markets tumbling, whatever. Although Rona, at an idealistic level, as Babats, which is now the things we need to straddle, is that MK, EFF, and ANC quelling their personal and then we say recenter the agenda to blackness, and that has a very slim chance of happening because we are in an economic and Dutch law platform that won't allow for that.
Okay.
Because we only want those to be purely because it sounds right for us when the black people are in charge.
Okay. So that's what you think is going to happen.
DA
Okay, but what's your best case scenario?
My best case scenario is to see things for what they are. MK and ANC and EFF are the same thing, in truth. What's happened here is because of personal squabbles as a result of not taking care of the people. Because almost all of us, our vote are within those parties, right? But what we have a problem with is, which is what my opening statement, I don't trust the intentions of those politicians. I think they are not honest. ANC hasn't been honest with us. That's why it's like, how do you not take to book a presiding minister of health in a pandemic?
Wow.
Right? Like not even jail. Even if it was not jail, the guy is an MP.
Jail. Exactly, jail.
Yeah, I'm saying. No, I'm saying.
I hear you, and I'm saying
The
exactly
fact that he's
jail.
not in jail, you could not even put him out in the cold. What does that tell us? It tells us there's some things where he knows about somebody else too, right? So that should they go with something that satisfies the people, it's more of a danger to the ANC itself. Because
Yeah.
This
So
is why I had said, ngase baqhuthane bodwa, uZweli akhuphe inudes zalo mntu analysis for yona, so that we can see.
so you get it over and done with.
Yes.
So Mbali, I wanna hear. Okay. Yeah.
Ideally,
What's your best case scenario?
to be honest, because I want Cyril out, I'm very honest. I need Zuma to get his lick back.
Fuck with that.
I need him
Fuck
to
with
get his
that.
lick back. And him getting his lick back means getting rid of.
No,
And I'm not a Zuma fan. I'm not necessarily a
Yeah.
Zuma fan.
But you wanna see that.
But
Yeah.
I just like Cyril more.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Unfortunately.
100%.
Love it. So you wanna see NC and MK
With
coalesce?
EFF, yes.
Coalesce,
EFF.
and then one of the
You want the
compromises being
doomsday
Cyril
coalition.
Gargo.
Listen, the thing is also, especially after Palapala, EFF wanted his head on a silver platter.
Sure.
So if you have these two kingmakers saying, okay, we will have a coalition, but Ntangdiman.
That man gotta go.
Because even Dudu Zile alluded to that fact last night. She said, we will not engage with the ANC of Cyril.
Of Cyril
Not,
Ramaphosa.
we will not engage with the ANC. We will not engage with the ANC of Cyril.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So already you know, Hore, they are willing to talk to the ANC.
Yeah, but not,
Yeah.
not with that
Provided.
manager.
So for me,
Not with that
I would
manager.
love to see that lick back. And I would actually like to see EFF come into power as a minister, have Floyd as Minister of Finance.
Minister of Finance, yeah.
And I would, because,
I'm mad at that.
I wouldn't be mad at that as
President
well.
Mogoeng.
yeah, I would really love that.
But you don't see that happen.
I don't see that happening. Look, I'm 50-50 about
Yeah.
it. Because what I would see, then I would say President will come from ANC.
ANC.
Deputy most probably come from MK.
MK.
Strategic
Position,
ministerial
ministry.
positions will
EFF.
come from
EFF.
both EFF and MK. They will take strategic
which is finance.
finance, economic development, health, education.
So you don't want to see any ANC members be ministers of those.
No. It's not that I don't want them to.
Yeah.
But the compromise, because they are the kingmakers,
Yeah.
they're not going to go for any
Ministries.
ministerial
Yeah.
position. They're going for strategic ones. So which is finance, economic development, health is one big, education, small business enterprises,
Foreign affairs.
DMR. I think they will keep Naledi at international
affairs.
relations.
Yeah, international
She's
relations.
excellent
Yeah,
in
she's
that.
perfect.
Excellent.
And everybody
Perfect
has
for that.
complimented her on
Yeah,
that
she's perfect.
Excellent.
across the board.
Yeah,
justice. I think MK or most
I
probably
can
wants
see
justice.
MK.
Because it makes
Because they want to change, because of the whole constitutional thing. So they would like to get their lick back in the Department of Justice. And then both fisheries will look for ANC.
Yeah.
So they will try to destabilize the status quo of the key strategic positions, right?
I would love that.
DA, from an economic point of view, makes sense.
It does.
It makes sense, but I hate the DA.
I hate them
so
so
I
much.
cannot. Sorry, I cannot
It
allow
makes sense
that.
only because of the reaction of the West and the market.
Yes, because
Yes.
the
Not
truth of the
because
matter
we
is,
like them.
right now, ratings agencies have been quiet.
They've started.
Then they've started saying if
DA
the
and-
deadly coalition comes
happen.
They call
together,
it the Doomsday.
the Doomsday Coalition comes together, and all of these things, it's going to be a mess. And look, you're going to see big business really they're going to constrict
They're gonna sabotage politicians,
they're going to constrict Batu. You're going to see all of a sudden there's going to be a shortage of certain things. There's going to be a this and that. So for DA and ANC to come together, yes. And I could see that happening because ANC knows that it needs MK and EFF to stay in power, right? But they know that they have to compromise heavily because they're not even coming with a huge number of people. And because they don't want to do that, maybe because those who are currently running the ANC, they might cut off their nose to spite their face and go for DA. So that's the problem.
Bali? What you wanna
After
say? What you wanna say?
ANC Quteni, in
We've
my
seen their
mind,
notes.
ideally, after Uzweli Elibandinti,
All of them.
I think
Yes,
mina
sis.
personally, in my personal capacity, ndine grudge against Uzweli.
It was life-threatening issues.
Yeah.
but
Bruh, people
People
died.
died.
not even threats.
No,
Yeah.
people died.
Like, there's nothing that man can do beside being in jail that will make me get over what he did. So, okay, to answer the question, engqondweni yam, i-DA ayifactorishe, it's almost as if ndiyabakhupha. So ibizwa by ANC ne-EFF
And other smaller parties.
and the other smaller parties. MK, I hadn't foreseen it perform
doing
the
what
way
it
it did. So obviously I
Yeah,
hadn't
Utusa
factored
group,
into
that's it,
Tusile.
yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, in fact,
I didn't like MK was just there to cause ruction, not there to actually
Disrupt everything.
you know.
It
That's
changed the whole model.
yes. So now it's I'm shook. So
You're supposed to, but-
I now no longer have an ideal coalition. Because as much as I wanted ANC to not be able to make decisions for themselves, I didn't expect them to knock on MK's door for assistance.
Yeah,
I didn't want them to be found on their knees, becengana, no Zuma, ubana, kau, you know? So
Yet, what
now
pirate type
I don't have an
I thi-
ideal.
I guess for me, what would be ideal is for me, on personal politics, the Doomsday Coalition. I want to see that happen. Yeah, I want to see MK and EFF getting into bed together and figure it out. I don't care how they figure it out.
I don't look. We have 90 days to figure it out.
Yeah.
according
Yeah,
to the law.
yeah, yeah.
We're gonna need
yeah.
all of
But I
those.
get it right now. I get it right now. We busy speculating.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Yeah. But what I think is likely going to happen is what Tabang mentions, DA and ANC. And on a personal front, ANC getting into bed with the DA, I don't know how they will outlive it, because I think it will be such a stain to the brand.
It's going to be punished even further.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it will be punished.
Absolutely.
It will be punished even further. I think
And
it will be
Nkosi
such a
Zuma even further.
yeah.
But
it
the
will,
Cyril's ANC
yeah,
care.
yeah.
about that.
But Cyril's ANC will coalesce with the DA.
But
Yeah.
this
But,
is
but if they get him the fuck out of there, maybe, and put somebody else.
exactly. This is why I'm saying. This is why I'm saying it's imperative.
Yeah,
That
the-
he
For
get the
him
fuck
to
out.
be
Yeah,
recalled or
to
to
get him
leave.
out.
But le Paul Gwayena nje akathembakali.
Yeah, Lena.
Gwayena because Lena hatswafi
Yeah, he's not that guy.
to lay in bed with the DA.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
why the next best person is Gweezy.
It's Greasy.
So
Yeah.
that's why for me, D-Man Monday, ka 12, He either must have resigned or they've recalled him. He must make a decision. But I think if they go into coalitions for ANC to save face and also for the MK and the EFF to work together with them, these three need to come together and say, these two, your deputy and your president, especially your president, but we'll compromise Kakwede. Then we'll have a way forward. We'll definitely have a way forward.
They need to figure it out, man. All right, man. That's 3 hours. And any last words? I'm going to take last words before we wrap it up. Last words on the elections. Who wants to start? Last words. Whatever it is.
Emotions won. Because it's voting in Lizio.
Yeah.
Barely excusing her behavior, and that's bad. Look, man, I think for me,
last words.
My last words is that our excitement feels good in the short term, but there's a lot of hard questions that we need to ask ourselves as the electorate and in particular black people, because like we are saying, the loss of ANC is a loss of some self-pride for ourselves too.
Yes.
And our politics are not as mature. In as much as we think 30 years is a long time, we are seeing the things that we still vote with, which is what everybody's emotions, or you like somebody, are not actually the things that build society.
Yes.
Right? They are not things that build society, the things that we vote on. They are not things that build society.
No, I hear you.
Right? And Jacob Zuma started MKA for personal reasons, not for... He was unhappy with the status quo of how the country is going. He was unhappy with how Cyril was humiliating him. That's the fact, right? So I think another thing is that we as black people as well, it shouldn't have taken elections to deal with the ANC.
I hear you.
I think there's a way we need to protest without waiting for elections.
All right. Claudia, last words.
I think it's going to be a scary 5 years because it's going to reveal a lot about how we think, how we reason, how the world sees us as well in the next 5 years. I don't foresee a lot of things being built in the next 5 years. I mean, I hope I'm wrong with this, but that's how it's looking. I'm really sad that the ANC led us to this point. I wish they had listened to the people when they were speaking and things were still okay. I think bigotry won this election, and that's always worrying, especially for a country with so much pent-up anger. And I hope that Cyril is out. I hope Paul is out.
Right.
Listen, I hope Zuma is out too. But that's not gonna, at least he's out of parliament. That's all I have. That's all I got. And
last words from you.
ANC needs to get rid of their comms teams on all departments.
Yes.
Get
expeditiously.
Please, because hire me. I'll understand how comms happen. This is not how comms is supposed to happen. This is where the real work starts now.
Yeah.
It's the tough times are toughing in the next few weeks, because we are now realizing the coalitions that we were seeing being messed up at local government have now caught up with us at national. I hope we can do better. Egos ran this elections, not logic. And if it continues in this trajectory, we're going to continue seeing terrible things. But I hope for the best, man. I hope ANC does not cut off its nose to spite its face. Yeah. I hope they really make the right decision for the black man. Because no one is happy that we are stuck here. No one is happy leaving ANC. Nobody. It felt like a part of me has left. Yeah. I felt like Mewini was looking at me like, what the hell is going on? Yeah. I think I was listening to Thandiswa Mazwai's album Zabalaza this whole week, and I was listening to Nizlibelo Guthi Nzalo Ubani and Zabalaza.
Speak on it.
And the lyrics of those two songs are so important, because she says, why is this happening in our father's home, in our father's land? So I hope they make a proper decision for black people. Rather work together than let the white man take over, man. We'll if the
figure it
rent
out.
falls, we'll pick it up.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Aye,
Yeah.
The rent falls, we'll pick it up, man.
Yeah, man.
One last question, yes or no answer, please, Kopane.
Yeah.
If we were to go with, because our votes go within MK, EFF, and NC, ne? Because the things we always ask a lot out of politicians, not a lot out of ourselves.
Ask the question. Ask the question.
If they did that coalition and said, fuck whatever the West throws at us, you will be fine.
No.
So what's the question?
If EFF and ANC and MK, but the squabble, and then we push the thing as a black thing, what,
Yes.
we as the country and the population, are we happy with the ramifications economically?
Yes, I am. I am.
And but I don't think a lot of people are.
I am.
No,
I am.
no.
I don't think people are.
No, I won't be happy.
Yeah.
I don't want us
It is
to.
what it
I don't want us to
But
cook
I won't
it.
be happy.
I don't want us
take
to.
it.
Yeah, but I'm taking. I'm taking it. And on that breath, that was episode 16, and we
Hey,
out.
buy my book.
And we out. And buy the book.
Claudia's right about us.
Yes.
And then tell your people about us as the dojo.
Yes. Out.
Did you
Out.
put-
Out.